is a presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Black Horse. We are Florida.
In Miami tonight, a short homestand and a really short series closes for the Marlins. The Rays and the Marlins, game 2 tonight, 2 more to come, starting in St. Pete tomorrow night. Hi, everybody. Rich Waltz, Todd Hollinsworth on the call tonight. And last night it was the Rays and Kevin Cash. He used his bullpen, he used some reserves, and came up with a very nice win.
Yeah, it was a better win for the Rays, no doubt about it. They pitched better. They deserved to win that ball game, came up with a couple of big hits, and again, I talked about those walks an awful lot. Hopefully we don't see that tonight. Remember, Edinson Volquez is going. That has been a little bit of an issue.
Okay, let's talk about Marcell Ozuna. Now, okay, interleague play, numbers this, numbers that. But Ozuna against the Rays is on an incredible run, and it continued last night.
Well, it proves what again, I'll call it a little bit of a theory, maybe a player theory. Players believe in confidence, they have it, and they see it. Listen, an 18-game hitting streak against one particular team, and it's not like he sees them all the time. He's just little bits and pieces, 400 batting average, and jumps all over a first-pitch curveball. That was like the third curveball of the game right there. Great swing of the bat. Listen, it just speaks to the confidence of a player. Hopefully Marcell keeps it going.
So, pitching tonight for the Marlins, they would love to see Edinson Volquez finally get a win. Let's start with Volquez. What have you seen so far this year? What does he need to adjust tonight?
Inconsistency. And I go back to his last start, but which by numerical definition tells you that was the best start of the season, although it was an okay start. It wasn't fantastic, 5 2/3, a couple earned runs. It's the walks. It's as simple as that. He's got to avoid the extra traffic that he's putting out there on the bases and the high pitch counts. It's as simple as that, his fastball command.
Alex Cobb goes for the Rays. Now, some drama in the warm-up session in the bullpen. Cobb fiddling with his finger. The Rays trainer came out and looked at it as well. He's been very good against the Marlins. Great to see that he's healthy, too, for the Rays.
Well, he's still working his way back from Tommy John. I guess speaking as far as results, he's all the way back. He'll tell you, I'm completely healthy. But, again, those results are not very similar to what we saw 2013 and 2014 when he was dominating the American League. He's got a 4.5 ERA right now, and he struggled just a little bit.
Kevin Kiermaier back in the lineup for the Rays. Evan Longoria not yet. The Fish and the Rays go to it. Game 2. Gone in a flash. Big night on the base pass for D. Gordon last night. Craig Minervini, Preston Wilson, when we return. of Miami as the Marlins and the Rays play Game 2, and we head out to center field. Craig Minervini and Preston Wilson.
All right, Rich, thank you very much, and good evening again, everybody. Well, leading off for the Marlins again tonight, just a few points shy of 300 on the season, is D. Gordon, and he had a D. Gordon kind of night last night.
Well, we're starting to see D. Gordon become that D. Gordon that we saw a couple years ago, getting on base at a high clip again, causing all kinds of havoc on the base paths, stealing bases, making that defense uncomfortable, advancing on overthrows, just doing everything you can to be a disruptor. The Marlins were able to score a run in the first inning yesterday without getting a hit, and that's because you got a guy at the top of your lineup like D. Gordon who can walk, steal second, move to third, get your sac fly by Christian Yelich. You can score a run without having the benefit of a hit, and that's important.
Yeah, he walked the first time up, and that's exactly what happened. He created havoc. He had his 14th 3 stolen base game. I talked to Don Mattingly about him today, and he basically said, yeah, create the havoc, and we'll take the walks with D. Gordon. It's not a part of his repertoire, but it is a big factor if he can get on base any way possible. Our homestand finale coming up, and then the Marlins will head over to St. Pete. Citrus Series Round 2 next.
Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. By Jeep, get great deals on the Jeep lineup at the Jeep Spring Clearance events. And by your local Toyota dealers. Let's go places. Marlins Park, the Rays, and the Fish. Christian Yelich, Giancarlo Stanton, and the Marlins ready to come out. The Rays are a game under 500. The Fish are 2 under. And here is Kevin Cash's lineup for Game 2. Corey Dickerson has been a beast at the top of the lineup. Kevin Kiermaier, after a night off for most of the night, back in at center field. Logan Morrison absolutely mashes against his old team, 9 of 15. Brad Miller at second. Steven Souza Jr.'s out in right. Tim Beckham, another big hit at the Marlins' expense last night, a 2-run double. Derek Norris, the catcher. Daniel Robertson, a nice game last night with the glove. And Alex Cobb is in the 9 spot. Edinson Volquez ready to go. Umpires say bring him on. And here comes Volquez looking for his first win of the season. 5 starts and an 0-3 record. Volquez, of course, an American League pitcher last couple seasons with Kansas City. And he arrives here taking aim at a Rays team and that has seen him a lot in a variety of uniforms.
Well, you see his career numbers at Marlins Park. Let's talk career numbers. Well, I'm not going to say career numbers. His numbers last year in interleague play, that's what stands out. I mean, we can talk about the start to the season, and we can talk about some of the inconsistencies, and we'll definitely get into that, but let's stay with the positive now. I tried it on Marcell Ozuna last night, and it worked. Let's do it again. 5 starts last year for Edinson Volquez in interleague play. He is the lowest earned run average for any one single season. Did it last year with the Kansas City Royals, 0.84. Absolutely dominant in interleague play last year. What do you take from that?
Well, he was facing the National League, so he should be getting wins
there you
right
go.
now.
Let's take a look at the Marlins defensively. Ozuna, Yelich, and Stanton. That's your outfield. Prado, Rojas gets the start at shortstop. D. Gordon, Bour, JT Realmuto, and it's Volquez on the mound.
All right, the Rays last night went with somewhat of a patchwork lineup. Both Kevin Kiermaier and Evan Longoria had the night off. Logan Morrison did not start as well. Morrison's in there tonight. Kevin Kiermaier is in there tonight. Kevin Cash still trying to give that left foot of Evan Longoria another night of rest before returning home to the turf at Tropicana Field in St. Pete. And the Rays awaiting a couple of players last night who are on the disabled list. One arrived last night, worked out, and has been activated. As Colby Rasmus is in uniform. He's not in the lineup, but he is available to hit tonight. Matt Duffy is still at least a couple of weeks away, maybe a week away from a rehab stint in the minor leagues. But as it is, Corey Dickerson, Kevin Kiermaier, Logan Morrison, lefty bats are stacked up front against Volquez tonight here in Miami. And what a nice year this guy is having, especially at the top of the lineup. Tied for the American League lead in multi-hit games. 5 home runs out of the #1 spot in the batting order. And Volquez misses up. The count's 2-0.
Very unique lineup tonight for Kevin Cash in the Rays. He's got 4 lefties at the top, followed by 5 righties. Now, 4 left-handed hitters in a row. That's the first time that's happened for the Rays since April 11th of 2011. But you pair that with the 5 righties, and it's never happened before.
So that means Longoria wasn't in that lineup, at least at the top of the order. Who was in that lineup?
I don't know the answer to that question. I just saw the uniqueness of the lineup tonight, and I knew there had to be all sorts of meaning behind it. 4 lefties in a row, then 5 righties. You know, traditionally managers want to balance out that lineup. This is as unbalanced a lineup as you'll see.
Research department reports Sam Fold, Johnny Damon, Matt Joyce, Dan Johnson. That was in 2011. Kevin Cash is all seated up, ready to go. And Dickerson has run the count to 3-1 against Volquez. The question for Dickerson, and Kevin Cash talked about it tonight, is with Rasmus' return, it sounds like Rasmus is going to get the bulk of the work against right-handed starters in left field. But I don't know how you take this guy out of the lineup, because he's just having an outstanding start to 2017. It's a great thing for the Rays that they've got the designated hitter in the American League.
Yeah, well, there's a couple things going on here. First of all, a 3-1 pitch to Dickerson, ripped into right field. Why not? 9 for 20 in the first inning this year. That's a .450 batting average, and it just went up. Now 10 for 21 when hitting in the first inning. So you see why Corey Dickerson's at the top of that lineup. But I also want to chime in on the defense. You're right. You mentioned, Corey Rasmus coming back and playing left field. Maybe that's what Dickerson was doing last night, because I'll tell you, that was 2 incredible defensive plays he made out there.
Yeah, catch up against the wall and a diving stop in the gap.
He was defending his turf a little bit.
Well, here's Kiermaier, and an awful slump for the last week and a half. Has dropped his average to 208. Last night he did get in the game, walked, and it was a big walk. Kiermaier walk in the middle of that 7th inning when the Rays scored a couple. But 1 for his last 33 right now. Kevin Cash hoping that the off day last night, a mental day off until those last few innings. Gives him a little bit of a boost coming in here tonight.
Yeah, he's an impact player, obviously, on defense. In fact, impacted the game last night with an aggressive slide at second base.
Ball and a strike. Kiermaier fouls it back. Now, when he gets back home, he's a .326 hitter. And the Rays are a decidedly better team at the Trop, record-wise. 9-4 at home, 4-10, even with the win last night on the road.
Sounds like mind games to me.
Big shift on against the lefty bat. 1-2 coming. Fastball up. Walks an issue last night for Miami, especially Brad Ziegler in relief. Wei-Yin Chen had 4 walks. Two fouled at the plate. Of course, the Rays and the Marlins are headed across the state. All the bags are packed, ready to go tomorrow night, Tropicana Fields. 6:30 start for Rays Live on Fox Sports Sun. And both those games on Fox Sports Sun tomorrow night and Thursday night.
Definitely not the person that ever wants to use the word must when it comes to the game of baseball. It's a naughty word. It's not a word you want to use. You never want to tell yourself you have to do something, because a lot of times it'll put you in a very vulnerable position. Let's put it this way. Edinson Volquez would like to pick up his first win of the season. The Marlins would like to win this one. 2-3 feels so much better than 1-4.
Runner goes on the 3-2 swing and a miss. Real Minto's throw is a beauty, and it's waiting on Dickerson. And that's a double play. And the struggles continue for Kiermaier.
How many times have we seen JT Realmuto make this incredible throw, quickly getting rid of the ball, fantastic exchange, but putting the ball on the right side, the first base side of the bag. And see, look at that, even a little tail there at the end. I'd probably tell you that wasn't quite deliberate, but it's exactly where you want it. Wait for Dickerson to slide in to the tag.
Here is Morrison, 9 of 15 against the Marlins. And that's not in a lot of games. That's 5 career games, 3 starts. And he added to it with an RBI single last night.
Base hit back through the middle.
There are the numbers against Edinson Volquez. Morrison, of course, in Seattle as well. Came up in the Marlins organization. 2010 through 2013, 4 years at the big league level. Still one of the most memorable telecasts we had was when Logan Morrison was in Milwaukee, and his father Tom, who was ill with cancer, rode the train all the way up from Louisiana to see his son in the big leagues. Tom pitches outside, and Morrison walks.
4-pitch walk from Edinson Volquez right there. You see so much of that action on that 2-seam fastball as it chases it out of the strike zone.
Brad Miller now. Miller in the cleanup spot. Ray's second baseman. And 0 for 3, though he did swipe 2 bags. Miller, another one of the Rays hitters who's mired in a skid right now. 2 for his last 20. The amazing thing about Miller, though, as his batting average has gone down, his on-base percentage has been healthy. still leads the American League with 19 walks. That's a 135-point difference between batting average and on-base percentage.
Well, it's probably to be anticipated. Not that he didn't already have a good eye, but when you pair that with the power that he showed last year, the 30 home runs, where he's at in this lineup, and well, tonight hitting in the 4th spot, I get it.
He's the Ryan Schimpf of the American League. All right, you talk about pitching, and the numbers are pretty plain. Starter wins just 5. Quality starts are low. And look at the number of innings by the bullpen. 3rd most in Major League Baseball, not just the National League.
Well, and unfortunately, the inconsistency is the word that I would use to describe the starting pitching this year. There have been a handful of just brilliant starts. Unfortunately, a lot of inconsistent starts as well. What does that all add up to? A lot of bullpen innings. And really not being able to predict what your starters are going to give you every night. That's not easy to do. That's not easy to manage.
Off-speed pitch, rolled up the middle. Gordon, a nice stab at it, and a flip to Rojas to get the outs. Double play helps Volquez out. Scoreless start in Miami. East coast of Florida. Tomorrow, everyone will get a chance to look on the west coast of Florida. D. Gordon and Miami's lineup to face Alex Cobb tonight. It's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Gordon, Martine Prado, Christian Yelich, Stanton in the cleanup spot. Ozuna homered last night. Justin Bour has hit 9 of his last 11. JT Realmuto hits 7th. Miguel Rojas gets the start at short. And Volquez hits 9th.
There's Alex Cobb, 5 starts of the season already, 1.2466 ERA, 29 innings, 21 strikeouts. What stands out is that .317 opponent's batting average. So I'm going to tell you here in a little bit, he's coming working his way back from Tommy John. He's been off a little bit. His pitches, his secondary pitches in particular, have been a little inconsistent.
D. Gordon, Martine Prado, Christian Yelich. You can see his numbers are really good. A .350 ERA and 91 career starts. Big breaking ball. The biggest challenge has been health, and not just with the Tommy John surgery. He's had a variety of ailments that have kept him from making a full season starts worth of, say, 30 or 31 starts. Fastball in. And it's 1-2.
See that high leg kick from Cobb. Very deliberate. Takes his time on the mound as a hitter. I think that first time you see him, there's a few guys in the lineup that are seeing him for the first time. Kind of difficult to get past the leg kick and turn right there. There's his changeup. Let's see it in slow motion right here. Envision yourself in that box, seeing that leg go up and all those antics. It'll throw you off. You got to kind of look past that and try to really concentrate on that arm slot.
Gordon reaches out and sends it out to right field. Steven Souza Jr. is out there. And he makes the catch. Tampa Bay defensively last night, very, very good.
Really good defensive plays, especially on that infield. Dickerson had a couple of them in left field as well. Kiermaier, Gold Glover, back in center field. Souza Jr. over at right. Robertson had a couple of nice plays as well over at third base. Beckham, Miller, Morrison, Norris doing the catching. Alex Cobb on the mound.
Dickerson out in left. You talked about his 2 catches last night. Here's Martine Prado now. And he takes the strike.
I'll give you some numbers on Cobb. It'll explain his, well, really in a lot of ways, his career and his story right now. 2013 and 2014. 2013, he had a 2.76 ERA in 22 starts. 2014, 2.87 ERA in 27 starts. Then he had Tommy John surgery. And it took a while to get back. Missed all of 2015, missed most of 2016, and made his way back late in the year. Now last year in 22 innings, he had an 8.59 ERA, and so far this season, as we've talked about here, inconsistency, 4.66 ERA. So again, you see what Cobb can get back to and what he is and how they see him and what he's dealing with right now and what he's kind of working through.
The 0-2 pitch. And that's not out of the ordinary for coming back from Tommy John surgery.
Absolutely.
He's in good hands with Jim Hickey, the pitching coach for the Rays.
Well, we always seem to watch with curious eyes when we see somebody dominate the sport as much as Cobb did prior to the injury, and then they come back and you see numbers that just aren't characteristic of them. Really struggled with his changeup. He's actually been leaning on his curveball an awful lot more here in the early goings of 2017 because of that inconsistency with the changeup.
Was it Kevin Cash said the other day, we'll all be happy when his changeup comes back, and they are hoping that soon, because I don't think anyone has thrown more changeups than he has. In fact, since 2011, 34% changeups. That leads the majors.
Right, and this year, to that point, only 23% changeup. So you see the drop off. He doesn't even want to throw the pitch because he doesn't trust it. He's spiking on the curveball. He's throwing it 10% more. Less changeup, more curveball.
Prado rips that off-speed pitch down in the corner. Dickerson retrieves it, falls over, and Prado around second. Dickerson, I don't know if he stepped on his glove or just lost his footing.
Well, sometimes you hit the grass and the track. You'll step right on both. Well, this is it. This is the changeup, and you see the inconsistency up in the zone. Martine Prado, good swing there. Oh, just stubbed his toe right on the edge. That's what it was. Well, he made that double a lot easier for Martine Prado. Turned into a gimme double. Up. Caught his toe right before he got to the dirt. Must not have wanted to get his shoes dirty.
So now Cobb faces Christian Yelich. You got Giancarlo Stanton on deck. And a breaking ball misses up. Now, in pregame warmups, we were watching Cobb in the Rays pen, and he was fiddling with his finger. The Rays trainer went out, looked at the finger, but so far there's been at least nothing that we can see on the mound of him favoring it or looking at it. One of the telling, well, you see that wipe on the pant, and here comes Kevin Cash, and he's bringing the trainer.
Well, and you know, it's so many times happens. This is either a callus that is coming off, that extra skin, and it's flaking off, or underneath it a blister's developed.
He was wiping the hand on the pant just as Kevin Cash started out of the dugout, and he shook his head no, whether that meant, hey, I'm okay, or I'm angry about having something on my finger. That's the bullpen session. You can see the training staff down there along with Jim Hickey looking. And live on the mound right now, Kevin Cash along with the Rays trainer with the visit. There's no sign of blood or anything on the pant leg yet. They seemed to have checked him out, and he, without even throwing a pitch, is going to step back in there.
If I was a betting man, it's probably a hard callus that he's got on his finger. Again, we've talked about the number of breaking balls he's throwing, and it's somewhere between a blister and the callus itself.
That went foul back out of play.
Seen many starters, well, pitchers, even the guys down in the bullpen too. My years in the dugout, going to goodness gracious, how much call it minor surgery going on in the dugout, where guys were always trimming their, the callus down, trying to get it to the perfect spot. And if it gets too big, then it could potentially blister underneath.
Prado at second, 1 out, 2-1 coming to Yelich. And a nice change up there, and it's 2-2.
Yep, there it is. That's the split grip. Thing one. It's way down in the zone. That's the inconsistency. That's what he wants to keep it at right there, but he has struggled with it so far this season.
Yelich pulls it out to second, Miller on to first. Prado takes third. But there's 2 outs now, and it's Cobb against Stanton with a runner at third base. Because of the Tommy John surgery and a lot of 15 and 16 being wiped out for Cobb, Marlins don't have a lot of history against him or a lot of at-bats. Stanton is 1 for 5, a walk and a couple strikeouts. Here's the 0-1. Fastball is in.
Underneath.
Now Stanton is one of the Marlin hitters that is struggling. He is 2 for his last 21. Big shift on by the Rays. And Jim Hickey's on the phone right now, which is an indication even though they went out and chatted with them, he may be letting somebody know to start the process. And it looks like the Taiwanese pitcher, who is hustling to get up there. It's only 12 that have pitched in Major League Baseball history. 12 from Taiwan. One of them was last night, Wei-In Chen. And we might get a chance to see who here tonight. 2-2 coming to Stanton. Breaking ball, and he fights it off.
Cobb determined to make it through this inning right now. Still throwing his entire arsenal. We've seen the breaking ball, we've seen the changeup, fastball as well. Really no indicators that lead us to believe he wants to come out of this ball game other than the bullpen activity.
Struck him out. Stanton caught looking at a 91-mile-an-hour fastball. And Miami leaves a runner at third base.
It is a scoreless ball game in the top of the second. Hey, it's an email and a Twitter Tuesday. It's the Marlins and the Rays. So tonight it is all about that special hashtag Citrus Series. Now, Fish family, you know the deal, but for all of our friends in Tampa, we want you to get involved as well. Send your tweets to @FoxMarlins. Your emails can go to foxmarlins@gmail.com. And don't forget to use that hashtag Citrus Series. Now, guys, I have already seen a couple of requests for the Logan Morrison praying mantis video. Maybe we can try and come up with that at some point.
Oh, that's right. We saw that on the last road trip, but always worth another look. And if Rays fans have not seen it, I think they will be entertained.
Oh, yeah, we got that.
Here's Volquez, and a pitch fouled. Steven Souza Jr., Tim Beckham, and Derek Norris. Now, Marlin fans know about email and Twitter Tuesday. For Rays fans, send us your emails, send us your tweets. We'll answer as many as we can.
Rich told me he'd answer them all before the end of the ballgame. So
0-2 to Souza.
Thus begins the right-handed part of the lineup.
That's right. 4 lefties and the rest righties. Oh, breaking ball and a sharp one from Volquez. All right, let's start with an easy one. This involves actually Jessica. It's Steve who says, lifelong Marlins fan living in Tampa. Please tell Jessica that Miami is not home of the Cuban sandwich. It was invented and perfected in Tampa. And the Tampa version is far superior to the Miami version. And that's coming from a Marlins fan. So there's that.
Disagree completely. I'm going to say that Miami is the original home of the Cuban sandwich because that's what I want to think. So I am voting for the Miami Cuban sandwich as king of the Cubanos. Nope. See, I even have a fan in front of me trying to say it's not, but it's what I want to believe. So I'm just going to go with it.
All right. Don't take that as an example of our hard-hitting journalism throughout the night. We just threw a softball out to start things. As Tim Beckham swings and misses. Well, this is Edinson Volquez with 3 strikeouts already after a long first inning, even though he faced just 4 hitters. Volquez has struck out 2 to open the second.
Well, I think this is a great example of the conviction everybody's been waiting for from Edinson Volquez. He has just looked like a man on a mission here at the start of this second inning. At the beginning of the ball game, that first time through the lineup, he's definitely had some issues this year, particularly with the walk. In fact, more walks than strikeouts the first time through the lineup this year. He usually starts making good adjustments in the second, but good to see Volquez here.
Derek Norris, 1 for 3 last night with a walk. He doubled to start the 7th, and that was a key inning for the Rays. And the count 2-0. Cecilia wants to know, what is something you like about the Citrus Series beside the clean, fresh scent?
Like Marlins wins.
Well, you got to dig deeper than that.
I'm pretty shallow, pal. I don't know what you're looking for. I like wins. That's where I'm going to leave it.
All right, I'll go. I like watching the Rays play. They've always been a fascinating team to me. They've done more with less, better than anybody in baseball. And when Joe Madden was there, he was always so creative. Mm-hmm. Kevin Cash is that way as well. So that's one of the things I enjoy about the Citrus Series. And the other thing I enjoy about the Citrus Series is sitting down with my good friend Dwayne Statz,
right,
and having a leisurely lunch and talking baseball.
I got to spend some time with Dwayne out in Los Angeles this year. Conversation with him. Very, very nice man.
He and Brian Anderson will be by tomorrow night on Fox Sports Sun.
Mm-hmm.
A walk to Norris, and here's Robertson. Robertson, a guy that the Rays got in the Ben Zobrist trade with Oakland, and he was terrific defensively last night. And Kevin Cash was talking about how versatile he is, and the fact that in the minor leagues he made a point of playing all around the infield just to up his value. And with this organization, heck, with any organization in Major League Baseball, that is something.
Well, it's value. I mean, that's it. Whether it's getting to start every day at the Major League level, that versatility makes you a manager's favorite, I should say. How many guys around the game today are on teams, constantly find themselves with big league jobs because of that versatility? And they may not be starters. They're utility guys by definition. But the more positions you can play, that is only a feather in your cap, and managers absolutely love it.
One pitch is out. We have a variety of questions already about the sale of the Marlins. Have Jeb and Derek been at the ballpark? Have you seen Jeter lately? All of that. And as we said last week, Todd and I are the last guys to be in the know about that. What you guys read and what you guys hear, well, is what we read and what we hear. So
you and I come in through the bat cave underneath, and we come straight up to the booth every day. So it's not like we're bumping into anybody. And we talk about being efficient, and Edinson Volquez, well, he's been able to limit the damage, any damage at all. 3-ball counts on 5 of 8 batters already. You see the pitches, 35 of them here in the second.
And he's 3-1 now to Robertson. Norris the runner at first. And Volquez loses him. Boy, it was a long first inning, a quick start to the second, and now 2 consecutive walks. And here comes Cobb to the plate.
You ever feel like sometimes like they're listening to you, listening to me up here, talking about how good Edinson Volquez. You see the first 2 hitters of this inning. It's back to the walks now. 3 walks in the first time through the lineup. I mean, that really stands out. That's one thing that you pick up on early in the season. First time through the lineup, coming into tonight's ball game. 10 walks and only 7 strikeouts. Now, second time through the lineup, 4 walks and 11 strikeouts. So what does that tell you about Edinson Volquez? That second time through the lineup, hitters are actually coming up. They should be feeling more comfortable against Edinson Volquez. He's actually getting better. It shows you how good his stuff is.
Cobb now takes a strike. Carlos in Winter Springs. Why don't they just do away with the designated hitter in the American League? I don't see the point anymore. And that's always a point of discussion in interleague play. DH, no DH, pitchers hit, pitchers no hit. That one fouled at the plate, and it looked like it got a piece of Cobb. Let's see where this hits.
2-seam fastball, got some run under there.
Ooh, a back leg. That's not easy to do.
I broke a leg doing that, I can tell you. Does not feel good.
Oof. That's the last thing Cobb needs with all the things that he's battling.
Take his mind off his blister.
So, DH, no DH? What do you got?
I mean, I'm a National League guy. I mean, I spent the majority of my career in the National League, 10.5 of the 12. I will always argue for the National League. That's a guarantee. So I'll leave it there. I do respect the DH, but I'm a National League guy.
You probably got to DH in interleague though a little bit, didn't you?
Did.
Oh, there we go. Ah, see? Scoreless ball game in the second. Fans of 2017 Esurance Major League Baseball All-Star Game ballot is on. That's your chance to choose your favorite Marlin or Rays players and send them to the All-Star Game presented by MasterCard on July 11th right here in Miami. Vote now at marlins.com/vote. On an email, oh, that's pretty cool. On an email and Twitter Tuesday here in Miami, the Marlins and the Rays. All-Star Game is here. All-Star Game on Fox, July 11th from Miami. Only on Fox. Auto Nation brings you the Scanner Report. What you got?
Thing 1. Well, we talked about Thing 2 last night. Jake Odorizzi. Remember, we talked about that changeup, that split changeup. Well, here is the originator, Thing 1. He's the master. He created it, but he's struggling with it right now. So keep your eye on that. We've already talked about it a little bit in this ball game. You're looking out for that changeup, that split changeup. Now, another Tommy John success story. That's kind of where Cobb is at. He is on his way back from Tommy John. It took him a little bit longer than the traditional, I think, what is it, 12 to 18 months. Obviously missed a lot of last year as well. And the last one is an interesting one. Big league bat boy. I just wanted to tell everybody about this. I met him as a very young man. He was born and raised or grew up in Vero Beach, home of, well, used to be the home of Dodgertown. And he was actually a bat boy in his 10, 11, 12-year-old age. I happened to be a Dodger at the time. We've actually had a conversation about this a few years ago, so kind of interesting. Right, I got to see him as a young man. He told me that he remembers obviously bringing up bats, remembers me and everything like that. I just thought it was so interesting. Here he is in the big leagues now. I guess it kind of made me old.
Get used to it. It's going to happen more and more.
Well, we're not getting any younger, buddy.
That's a low strike. Ozuna turned his head, and he, in conversation with Brian Knight, the home plate umpire. Count 1-2. Ozuna, and here's a look. That's a strike. That's got the plate, and it's right above or on the knees. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Ozuna cracks it foul down the third base line. Now, Marcell Ozuna against the Rays has been unbelievable. He has hit in all 18 career games against the Rays. Last night, a 1-for-4. It was a home run. 27 for 67. It's the longest hitting streak against the Rays since Derek Jeter. Just thought I'd throw that in.
You were trying to find a way to get Jeets in the conversation. I like it. Are you a believer, though, in that hitting streak now after last night?
Well, I mean, he does see the Rays 4 times a year, so I believe in that more so than Volquez in interleague. That's for sure. I mean, okay. Ozuna fouls it at the plate.
Well, if he gets a hit tonight, will you believe it a little bit more when he turns it into 19?
Well, here's another addendum to that. Only one player has begun his career with a longer streak versus the Rays. How about a Louis Castillo shout out?
Oh, very nice.
From 99 to 2003.
Sweet Louis.
Louis did it 23 games worth. Ozuna's at 18. He's got a 1-2 from Alex Cobb. And that pitch outside, Cobb thought he had it. It's 2-2. Ozuna has run the count full now at 3-2. Justin Bour is on deck. End of the bat and a little roller out to Cobb, who gathers it in, fires to first in time for the out. Back to the tweets and the emails. This is an email from Jason. I know it's early, but which Marlin or Rays player do you think will have a good chance at making the All-Star game based on the first month of the season? So first month, if you could pick All-Stars from either team. Remember, Ozuna was a player of the week. Yelich is off to a pretty good start. Real Muto was a player of the week.
D. Gordon? I'll throw D. Gordon into the mix with this as well. He stays hot. I would go Corey Dickerson with the Rays. I think he's had an impressive start to his season, and we know that when Corey gets rolling like he is right now, I'm sure there's going to be anything that's really going to get in his way. He's hitting lefties particularly well too. That's a great sign early in the season. He hit a baseball as far as anybody I've seen, any left-handed hitter.
Bour takes a changeup, and it's 2-0. Justin Bour had a great round of batting practice today. And, of course, coming off the weekend, a big Sunday, 4 hits, a homer, a double, and 6 runs driven in.
See, that's a great example right there. You say, well, wait a minute. Now, you just told me that Justin Bour is raking. Rich, he's seeing the ball right there. Now, why would he take a 2-0 fastball on the plate? Well, he's game planning right now. He's sitting on something. That's why he doesn't necessarily attack a fastball in a spot that he wasn't ready for. Some guys think, all right, I'm ahead 2-0. I'm swinging. When you really start to learn this game, you say, it's 2-0. I'm swinging at my pitch in my spot. And I think that was a great example of it right there. I'm not predicting the outcome of this at bat, but I'll tell you, he's game planning right now.
Art wants to know, does Justin Bour wear contacts during the game? Yes, he does. Here's a 2-2. Oof, that just missed. All right, shifting Justin Bour. This season, here are his areas of hits. It's a little spray chart action. That's why you get the heavy shifts over there on the right side. And of course, the one thing that doesn't show is balls in the air, balls on the ground. Because in defensive shifting, the infield is only reacting to what hitters do with ground balls.
Right. Let's take a look at this. It's almost, we can almost timestamp this as well, Rich. I know you think back to when Justin Bour was kind of struggling working his swing. You see that 14.5%. That was early in the year. Lately, you see the 21 and 29. That's kind of where he's at right now. And I know it stands out, and it certainly explains Justin a little bit, but it also explains what hitters go through in a season. You'll go through a cycle where you hit the ball the other way a lot more than maybe you're pulling it. Justin Bour was doing that earlier in the season as he was trying to get his timing down. Now he's looking to pull the ball because he feels better at home plate.
JT Realmuto now with Bour at first base. That one is a fair ball. Norris's throw is in time to get Realmuto. And Bour ends up at second base. .6:30 start for Rays Live. And that's over on Fox Sports Sun. Intentional walk. That's why you see that man jogging to first. And this is one of those cases where the intentional walk was issued and the on-deck hitter is not even out there.
Well, it's Volquez.
And it's Volquez.
Yeah. But see here, this is my, so no time to get loose, no time to warm up. This is my big question right here. It's actually happening. Edinson Volquez is walking to home plate, didn't put a weight on the bat, didn't get loose, he's going to just throw the gloves on and go. And you know, baseball, you know, there's like this little delay, almost like we're waiting on you, so hurry it up.
And so here is Volquez, Rojas at first, Bour at second. Now Volquez can swing the bat. He has 3 hits this year. And certainly Cobb is not a guy that is going to blow 95, 96 by him. And so he'll mix in breaking balls.
Show him a breaking ball he's never seen before, though.
Counts 0-2. close. Volquez pops up, right back in the box, ready to go.
This is not on purpose, anybody. Come on now, this is a breaking ball, but Edinson Volquez was going out. He was looking outside corner, and you watch his feet move, and this will get your attention. That breaking ball kind of comes out of the fingers a little early.
And that certainly set up that fastball. Volquez was on his heels for that. Scoreless after 2, Rays and Fish. Geico brings you this date in Major League history. In 1944, Ted Williams received his pilot wings. He would go on to miss 5 years, amazingly, flying for the Marine Corps in World War II and the Korean War. Hall of Famer in every respect.
Hips before hands. Look at that hip. Turns that little hip, that little front hip tuck in, and it just comes uncorked. Oof. Has anybody ever hit 400 again?
No, I think George Brett and Tony Gwynn were the closest, the two that flirted with it.
Well, I just, we got a couple of teams huge on offense. Diamondbacks are playing the Nats tonight. I just thought I'd ask you. There's a couple of guys really getting it done over there with the Nationals. I don't know if that's leading us to something extraordinary. I know it was an incredible April, but those two teams going at it again tonight. We'll see. I generally agree with you. I think in this day and age of just the way the bullpens are set up, I think that extra at bat in a game that you always get, or extra 2 at bats, won't allow for a 400 hitter.
Keith has this tweet. Having seen Alex Cobb bang one off his shin, that's why the American League has a DH. This is Dickerson, singled in the first, caught stealing in a double play on the strikeout to Kiermaier. And so you did DH as a National Leaguer. It's got to be weird for someone that hasn't DH'd before, all of a sudden jumping in as a National League DH and doesn't do it on a regular basis.
I had success doing it, and it was just small. I think it was only a handful of times. I definitely did it a couple of times with the Cubs. If I was in, I knew this about me well enough. Thankfully, I was in the National League long enough and didn't really ever have to do it in the American League. I knew that if I started to struggle, that the DH role would eat me alive. As you sit there and just ponder the struggle and try to figure out how to get out of it. I just didn't have a way of going out and playing defense, and so I think there's something to that. Now, if you're good and you're swinging the bat well, who doesn't want a day off from running on and off the field 18 times?
All right, which Edinson Volquez is this? Is this the guy that struck out 5 or the guy that has walked 3?
Well, I'll let you know when we get a little closer to the end of the game, because that's usually how it goes right now. And again, I think last inning was a tremendous example of that. Let me bring up this point on Edinson Volquez, and I think it's a good one, and in a lot of ways explains what he's dealing with. It's not about his breaking pitches, it's about his fastball. Now, his 4-seam fastball has been a little hittable this year. Hitters are hitting 304 against it. Now, his 2-seam fastball, which is the pitch that you see running out of the strike zone all the time, it's got great movement. That's not it right there. That's his changeup. Throw it in on the righties and away to lefties. It's a fastball, and it just chases out of the zone. Hitters only hit 265 against it, but it's the pitch he's struggling with the most to control.
Here's Kiermaier, and Kiermaier swings and misses.
You see, you kind of get caught in that little bit of a problem. You've got a pitch that you're throwing more for strikes, but it's actually getting hit a lot more. You know, you've got the great movement on the 2-seam fastball. You'd like to throw it more, but you're not throwing it for enough strikes.
One-two coming. Strike 3 called, and Kiermaier has struck out twice, and his struggles continue. A 1 for 35 right now. And up comes Logan Morrison. Did we answer the? We did answer the All-Star question on either side. You might throw Steven Souza in there as well for the Rays. Rays haven't had a great offensive start. The hope is that Longoria comes back, Kiermaier gets hot.
Probably should throw Archer in there.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think pitching
for either
team.
You're right, I was looking at the lineups as much as anything.
Morrison takes out. Lomo walked back in the first. His nickname coming up in the minor leagues was, I think it was 2-0 Lomo. Drills it right field and deep, and Morrison continues to clobber the Marlins. My goodness. He had an RBI hit last night. He is now 10 for 16 with 2 homers. And this is only his 6th game against the Fish.
Now you're going to get a fastball out over the plate. Hitters count 1-0. See that 2-seam fastball? We talked about it running. Well, that did not run. It stayed out over the plate, and Logan Morrison just absolutely unloaded. That's back-legging a baseball right there. See how he finished? See how his top half is behind his front leg? It's keeping your weight back right there and turning on a baseball.
Did he ever? 6 home runs now for Morrison. And here is Brad Miller. Look at that. And just 6 games. And damage, big hits.
I know that wasn't 467, but Logan Morrison does have the longest home run by a left-handed hitter at Marlins Park. Excuse me, I apologize, I misread that. Yeah, second longest by a foot. Christian Yelich, well done.
Yeah, Yelich 468, Morrison 467. Brad Miller bounced out back in the first, so the Rays strike first here, and they use the long ball to do it. And Volquez walks another, so 4 walks. Pitch count up in the mid-50s. And even in the Citrus Series, this copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority. The Marlins may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. Counts and descriptions of the game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Marlins. And the Marlins legal team will stand down after the night, and the Rays legal team will bear the brunt of the responsibility tomorrow night and Thursday night.
Pick it up from there.
Here is Souza, and he fouls that pitch off. Volquez chases Miller back. Miller had a couple stolen bases last night.
Stole second and third.
Busted bat, and Souza's going to get a hit, and it lands in center field, picked up by Yelich.
I'll tell you, Souza will take it to the start to this series here. I guess we'll call it a series of 4 games, but the 2 games here, he was on quite a strikeout spree.
And Souza an 0 for 5 last night with 3 punch-outs, and he struck out his first at bat. So a single there. Here is Beckham. Mark with a tweet wanting to know, given his start, his big hit last night, should Tim Beckham get a chance to remain a starter when Matt Duffy returns? That one to the screen. And Volquez, I asked you that question, is he the guy with all the strikeouts or the guy with all the walks? And right now he seems to be both. Yeah.
Well, I mean, here's the thing. Let's look back at the second and third inning. Both innings, he struck out the first 2 hitters he's faced. Second inning, he went walk, strikeout, got Cobb right there to end the inning. This inning, strikeout, gives up the home run to Morrison, a walk, and a single.
Up the middle, Rojas. Good range and a nice throw, and Beckham is out at first. But Logan Morrison goes deep, and the Rays are up 1-0. In South Florida. That's right. The Aaron C. Show coming up over the weekend. A lot of the men and women who serve our country a chance to enjoy the festivities and a ball game here. Love that look on the left with the hat. Second time through for Miami against Alex Cobb in a 1-0 Rays lead. Logan Morrison with a home run. And Gordon takes out Cobb. There were some moments where you thought Cobb wasn't going to stay in there much longer. He had issues with a finger during warm-ups in the bullpen. Started to fiddle with the finger and brought his manager out along with the trainer. They took a long look at him. Cobb convinced them that he was all right. And it sort of convinced Kevin Cash, but not to the point where he didn't have someone warming up in the bullpen just in case.
He went down there and started to get loose, but the interesting thing was there's really no evidence in his performance that was leading us to believe that the blister was causing any kind of distraction or loss of velocity.
Gordon thought about bunting.
He looks like Alex Cobb, other than the fact that, he had to call time and he's kind of been fidgeting around with that finger.
Well, our research department went back and trying to find if he had any blister history. He did come out of a game for a blister in 2013. But that was on a rehab start in the minor leagues, and that was after he got hit in the head. Remember that scary moment he got hit in the head with a line drive back in 13? Gordon up the middle. Miller to first. And the Rays have kept Miami's speedy leadoff man off the bases so far. Martine Prado and Christian Yelich. Coming up, Doug has this email. I love Craig and Preston. Doug actually grew up 2 blocks from where Craig grew up. But yesterday's home run discussion about humidity and heavy air in Marlins Park left me scratching my head. We're all season ticket holders and attend a lot of games during the summer. Roof is typically closed. AC ensures the temperature and humidity remain very comfortable. So please explain the discussion, and Todd will get your thought on it. And listening to Giancarlo Stanton talk about it yesterday, he said April is the best time to hit long balls in this ballpark. He said for whatever reason the ball jumps in April, and once it gets hot and humid, things kind of slow down.
Oh, very hard for me to make a counterpoint or a counter argument to that. Giancarlo Stanton has certainly way more experience than I. The year that I was here, as far as balls traveling, now granted when I was here it was Pro Player Stadium, we were outside all season.
And to right, Souza's there, and he makes the catch. Well, let's go to Craig, because Craig, you were there to talk to the players about this.
It's an interesting issue. First, let's hear from Giancarlo the comment about how the ball flies.
In April, it's pretty good before it gets really hot out. I don't know what the numbers say of the years prior, but definitely flies better in April until it gets super hot.
So, guys, we did a little investigating, and we're going to have the numbers for you a little bit later here. We got a couple outs, and it's find out if it does carry better, at least in terms of home runs. Now, the hitter could say the ball carries better, and it may be. But we'll see if the numbers back that up as far as homers early and later in the season here at Marlins Park.
All right, we look forward to a full spreadsheet PowerPoint presentation.
I'll add this. Marlins Park, obviously we know we've got the roof closed and it's a bit of a different ballpark. Outside here in South Florida, when we were at Pro Player Stadium, there really was no difference April through the end of the season, other than fatigue. And that's the only thing that you have to consider. And I think that actually matters here a little bit more than it matters in some other places.
Some of that's been mitigated with the AC and the roof, but certainly you guys went through some really hot days.
Yeah. Well, player fatigue is not the easiest thing to, here in Florida. That's one thing that I really had to learn, having played most of my career out on the West Coast and in the North as well. I came to South Florida, it takes a lot out of you. It gets really hot and humid.
That was the greatness of Pudge in 2003, wasn't it?
Oh my goodness! It was the fact that we couldn't get him back. I mean, we couldn't drag him out of the game. I mean, It was like he just refused to take a day off, especially when he got rolling. And we talked about it. We had a lot of guys that had come to South Florida to play for the Marlins that year, and we were kind of dealing with that humidity for the first time.
Yelich drives that to left and down the line and deep, but it just peels foul. And it's a long strike. The count is 3-2. Yeah, but you think about Pudge. He played in so many years in the heat in Texas, and that 1 year in the heat here, and of course.
Well, the heat in Texas, I played with Pudge in Texas, and the heat there is a little different than it is here. I mean, that humidity is just, especially in the summertime here, is wow. I mean, it is heavy, heavy air. I mean, you feel it. You feel it in your lungs. You feel it in your legs. Texas, it was just a little bit different. It didn't feel as bad as it felt here at times, and I guess that's maybe the way that I saw it. And again, I'm using small sample sizes, but Texas didn't. It was really hot, just not as humid.
Yelich rolls it to first. Morrison gets there and gets to the bag, and Alex Cobb protects that 1-0 lead. Finger, and Cobb with a 1-0 lead on a Logan Morrison home run. Twitter Tuesday tonight. You can get us on Twitter at Fox Marlins. You can email us foxmarlins@gmail.com. Marlins fans, Rays fans, all questions are welcome. We'll do our best to get to as many as we can. Derek Norris is up. What a odd start it's been from Edinson Volquez. Some good things, some not so good things. And here he is, 61 pitches in the top of the fourth.
Walked the tightrope a little bit in the third. Get a big ground out. Beckham.
Norris pops it up. Rojas is there. Yeah, 4 walks and 6 strikeouts for Edinson Volquez. As we told you, the Rays and the Marlins in St. Pete next 2 nights on Fox Sports Sun. You'll see us again for Marlins Live from Citi Field in New York. Craig Minervini, Preston Wilson will be there. Preview game 1 versus the Mets. Tom Kohler starts. Craig and Preston will be in the air-conditioned comfort and luxury of the Fox Sports Florida studio.
10th game against the Mets already? Sound about right? I know we've had 2 series. 7?
It'll be our. It will be
10 when we leave.
It will be the Marlins.
Wow.
8th, and then by the time the Fish get out of town, it'll be
8,
10.
9, 10. Yep.
For Miami and New York. Daniel Robertson walked back in the second. And there you have it. That's walk number 5. 6 strikeouts, 5 walks. There have been only 3 balls that were outs put in play. A Miller ground ball out, a Beckham ground ball out, a Norris fly ball out, which we just saw. You had the Dickerson single and the Morrison homer. Everything else is a walk or a strikeout.
And amazingly, none of the walks have haunted him.
Here's Cobb now with a runner at first and 1 out.
I told you 5 walks through 3 innings, 3+ innings. You'd say how many of those runs, how many of those walks have scored? So far tonight, Logan Morrison home run. All the offense for the Rays.
After a swing, Cobb is squaring. He takes down low.
So after that foul ball, his last at bat, you'd think he'd won a bunt.
Volquez steps off. We get this question every now and then. It's from David in Hialeah. Why does the catcher switch out the ball on a short hop pitch to home, ball in the dirt, but a ground ball sharply hit off the ground is never swapped? It is sometimes. In fact, if a hitter asks for the ball to be changed, the umpire will ask the pitcher, and he'll give it up. But you're right, there is a little bit of a double standard there. Got a fresh supply there. Pitch misses down. And the count 3-1 now. A walk to Robertson in the 8th spot. And a struggle to throw strikes to the pitcher, Cobb.
Volquez at 70 pitches here in the 4th.
Both Prado and Bour were crashing from the corners.
Volquez has faced 18 hitters, 9 3-ball counts.
That one fouled, and that would be strike 3. So Cobb unable to get the bunt down. We do apologize for the great audio we have around home plate. Occasionally it picks up a word or two from the heat of the action.
Kids at home, don't jab at the ball, catch the ball with the bat. Watch Alex Cobb right here. This is a 2 strikes. See how he jabs with that top hand? Tries to pop the ball with the barrel. That's very difficult to do. Any good bunter, Juan Pierre used to tell me this all the time, it's like playing catch. You're catching with the bat. It's just the opposite. Catch it.
That goes as strikeout number 7 in this race between
it's
walks.
It's so appropriate, right?
In this race between walks and strikeouts. 7 strikeouts and 5 walks. And here is Dickerson, who was singled and struck out.
If he was at the end of his start and it was 6+ innings, I think we'd be amazed at those numbers. Great changeup.
Counts 0-2. Adam has this tweet. I'm a Rays fan, but enjoying listening to you guys. Love this series, the Citrus series, but would rather have some of the games be over the weekend so fans from either city could commute and spend the weekend in that city. I like that idea.
Yeah.
It's not like this is a crosstown series. It's not like Chicago, what you're used to, or Northern California, or Los Angeles, or New York, where.
Well, this is a road trip. It's part of a road trip.
It is. I like that idea. I think he's on to something here. These games should be part of a weekend. Because who wouldn't want to go hang out in St. Pete? We talked about it last night. So much to do. And who wouldn't want to come over to Miami and spend some time in Miami?
I also believe, I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. Here in my 2nd year in South Florida, down here in Miami.
1-2, runner goes, swing and a miss. And strike 3, so no play at second base. How about another strikeout for Edinson Volquez? He's got 8 in the ballgame. Ozuna cranks one to left, and it's deep, and it's gone into the Clevelander, into the pool. And Ozuna just sent it into the pool and sent a couple fans in after it.
Well, that was as entertaining as that was. I'm going to stick with the home run for Marcell Ozuna right there. My goodness.
Marcell Ozuna last night. Giancarlo Stanton leads it off. And Stanton goes after the first pitch, pops it up. Cobb coming down, Norris has it, and he makes the catch. And for Giancarlo Stanton, the frustrations continue. 2 for his last 23. Alex Cobb gets the first out of the 4th. And here is Ozuna. Now Ozuna had been mired in a slump coming into this homestand. He did not have a great road trip, in the longest road trip in Marlins history. Rays know a thing or two about that as well in this corner of the country. Both these teams have to go a long ways in their travels. Marlins had a road trip of 7,100 miles. Started in Miami to Seattle, 3 there, down to San Diego, 3 there, back up to the Northeast to Philadelphia, 3 there, 1 got rained out, and then back to Miami, 7,100 miles. And by the way, a lot of emails and tweets wanting to know how Felo Ramirez,
yes,
Miami's Hall of Fame Spanish radio voice, is doing.
Saying prayers for Felo, everybody.
And the word is Felo was able to get up and take a few steps, and the news sounds a little better from yesterday, but still certainly everybody's keeping their fingers crossed.
Encouraging, very encouraging.
And all your prayers and well wishes will do a world of good. One and 2 to Marcell Ozuna. Drops the head of the bat. Robertson fires to first. And for a guy that looked like he was going to come out of the ball game with a finger issue, Alex Cobb looks very, very comfortable right now.
Right, he certainly does. Mixing his pitches particularly well. Good fastball command, using that break ball, and even using thing 1. That split changeup a little bit more. Saw Prado rip it, second batter of the game, but he's been able to get outs with it the rest of the way.
Here's Bour now. Cobb has been bitten by the home run ball this year, 5 of them in 5 starts. Count 0-1.
A lot of that damage done by left-handed hitters to this point against Cobb because of the failure to trust and at times the ineffectiveness of the changeup. 348 coming into tonight's ball game for left-handed hitters with 4 of those 5 homers that you mentioned.
For a line drive that finds green grass and a hit. 2-out single. He's been on base twice in the ball game. And he gets JT Realmuto in at bat.
Justin Bour, so much better, such good timing right there. And we talked about the pull. Now, 2 weeks ago, you might have seen a little bit of a different approach from Justin Bour right there, but gets that changeup right there and it extends. You can tell the extension of his thought right there. Pull the baseball. It's Cobb. Brad Miller just barely missed that one.
Realmuto hit a little roller out in front of the plate in his only at bat. Cobb gets a strike. It's 0-1. Christie tweets in. She agrees that the Citrus Series should be on the weekend, and that way she and her boys can attend.
Well, it's a very good point. I was thinking about this a little earlier today, that if it was on the weekend, wouldn't attendance naturally be much bigger, much better?
Yeah, have you cruised Alligator Alley yet?
Not, although I've seen an alligator.
Yes. Well,
do I have to go to Alligator Alley to see an alligator? I mean, I know I don't.
no, just your neighbor's house, apparently.
Well, no, I just go right out back. Saw one swim by a couple weeks ago in the lake.
Beautiful Parkland.
Yes.
Real Muto drives it to right. Souza goes back, and he is there and makes the catch. And Alex Cobb, 4 shutout innings for the Rays here tonight. Marlins, 5th inning. A little tour of South Beach. Tomorrow it'll be the waterfront down in St. Pete with Tropicana Field hosting the Marlins and the Rays. Kevin Kiermaier, Logan Morrison, and Brad Miller against Edinson Volquez. Volquez odd night continues. Very artsy move there. Our director Christian Roberts blocked that shot out earlier in the week. Been working on that. That's why he's critically acclaimed. Volquez fastball misses away. What a weird game for Edinson Volquez.
And you see again what he's dealing with a lot of times. That two-seam fastball, you see how much it moves. You're watching JT Realmuto's glove kind of start on the corner and chase off the corner. This is what the hitters are seeing as well, particularly the left-handed ones.
We check in with Jessica Blaylock. Jess.
Hey, Rich, ask and you shall receive. Everyone wanted to see Lomo versus the Praying Mantis, so we were able to find it. Now, this was a game between the Marlins and the Nationals back in 2011. A Praying Mantis found its way into the Marlins dugout. Lomo decides, I want to have a little bit of fun with it, but his reaction is priceless. He can't figure out how to get the Praying Mantis off of his back. Guys, we could watch this video a million times. It never gets old to see Lomo versus the Praying Mantis.
Well, Logan now, he waved at it like he was saying hi, and then he got nasty on it.
Well, because this wasn't just a 30-second snippet of fun. This was like 10 minutes of this Praying Mantis landed on Clay Hensley first at the other end of the dugout and literally walked the entire rail of the dugout. Each player said hello to the Praying Mantis.
Right.
But for whatever reason, the Praying Mantis took a liking to Lomo. Swing and a miss.
Yeah, watch. He's gonna wave at it. Right. Hey, how you doing? Oh no, he didn't show it. he wasn't a big fan after that. Neither. Look at everybody rolling in the dugout right
now. Gabby Sanchez, Ryan Peterson, Emilio Bonifacio.
Just trying to be friends. Come on.
Well, Morrison.
Look, goes over to Eddie Perez and wipes his back just to be safe.
Morrison clobbered a pitch to right for a home run. He swings and misses there. 6 home runs already for Morrison. Almost best year with the Marlins, a 23-homer season. And that was in 123 games back in 2011. Morrison, a father now, says that having a child is supposed to make him grow up. Of course, with a twinkle in his eye, he said that's not easy for him to do. 0-2 pitch. He chased a fastball, and Volquez, after a walk, gets a strikeout.
Yeah, why not?
It's the natural progression of things tonight.
Sure it is.
For Edinson Volquez.
Now, and you think to what Logan Morrison did to a fastball in that he got, and Edinson Volquez paid him back. Some awkward swings from Logan Morrison as he chases out of the zone. That 2-seam fastball, highly effective.
This is one of the strangest games I've seen in terms of a pitcher's line. 8 strikeouts, 6 walks, 3 hits, a run. Excuse me, 9 strikeouts now. Pitch misses out. So 9 strikeouts, 6 walks, and 1, 2, 3 balls in play for outs. That's it.
Well, in a weird sort of way, I know that, and trust me, I'm not promoting walks here, but and I do mean this. The walks have helped keep the infield on their toes. That's a good thing. Again, when you have so much inactivity, a lot of times what will happen defensively.
Runner goes. Real Muto's throw, and safe at second. Kiermaier swipes second base.
Stolen base on the season from Kiermaier. Now watch this. That 2-seam fastball. JT Realmuto, remember we talked about which side of the bag does he go to? That's the third base side of the bag, and really it's probably the difference. I know he'll tell you that wasn't the best of throws, not because of the direction, maybe because it was a bit of a short hop, but when you're on the first base side, clearly you got so much more time.
Two 2-0 the count to Brad Miller.
So to that point, you know, we were talking about the walks, you know, obviously being high, and it's not what you want, but again, because there's only been a few hits in the ballgame, and even for Logan Morrison, it was a home run, it's helped keep the middle infielders on their toes. There's been activity out there. There's been activity on the bases, just not a lot of ground ball activity.
That's got trouble written all over it, and it hits Kiermaier and rolls into center. That time the throw too far on the third base side, and it hit Kiermaier. That's a tough one to get to if you're Miguel Rojas.
Well, there's the 2-seam fastball once again. JT just kind of pulls the throw. You see how it finishes and how it extends. Clips Kiermaier on the foot and ricochets into center field. Right there, just kind of redirects it. It's an easy take of third base right there as soon as you pick up the baseball.
And that changes the whole at bat now for Miller. Runner at third, 1 out. Miami's infield is in. Miller check swing. Did he go? He did. Count full now, 3-2.
Oh, yeah.
Olympia High School in Orlando. Miller and on to Clemson. 3-2 coming. So 9 strikeouts, 7 walks. When's the last pitcher to get a double-double? Right?
I don't know the answer. Juan Nieves makes his way out to that question. How about if I tell you this? In all honesty, that really wasn't a bad walk right there. It isn't when you consider the circumstances. I mean, I got a little nervous. Kiermaier gets over to third base. Now, again, the Marlins offense has been scuffling for some runs here of late, trying to waiting through to get the bats going. You got a runner on third. He set up this is a 3-1 pitch to a 30 home run guy from a year ago. Pulled the infield in, make a 300 hitter, a 400 hitter. Really not that bad of a walk to Brad Miller.
He's going to need some more assists to get a triple-double here.
Well, how about a 6-4-3 assist right here? That'll work.
You got Souza up. Souza's had a very productive start to 2017. He struck out in his single. Big, strong right-handed bat. Marlins saw enough of him with the Nationals to know that. Volquez misses in. And I don't know that he's going to get a chance to increase that walk total much more than 7. Juan Nieves on the phone. Miami's bullpen active now.
Starting to stir.
Boy, in the dirt. And it's not just the walks, it's the fact that he sometimes misses by so much. Here's McGowan.
There's again something to be said for the tension and all of that as well. I mean, as much traffic as he's had on the bases, these are pressure pitches. Let's remember, this is a 1-run ball game. He's worked himself out of some trouble in this game as well. So the intensity that one puts on oneself when it's a close ball game. Oh, Don Mattingly pops out. They're going to go check on Edinson Volquez real quick.
And it's Mattingly and Juan Nieves and the Marlins trainer. Dustin Luker is out there. And now they're talking to Volquez. Juan Nieves shaking his head. Brian Knight, the home plate umpire, and Don Mattingly having a discussion now. And the Marlins are going to go to the bullpen. All right, this last pitch, let's take a look if we see anything from Volquez.
See if we see any rinsing.
There is a grimace. And a little tap of that right leg.
Well, maybe something was going on that he was managing this game that, again, wasn't for us to see, but clearly something going on here.
And he looks certainly like he's favoring something on his way out. McGowan coming in, 1-0 Rays. On Nieves. Now, when they were on the mound, it was a fairly lengthy discussion. Volquez was fiddling with his finger a bit. And you can see Dustin Lupker, the trainer, looking at it as well. But there wasn't a whole lot of examination of the finger. There he is taking a look at that thumb. And so Volquez exits because it's an injury. There's the line: 7 walks, 9 strikeouts. Major League Baseball All-Star Week coming to Miami. You can get in all the action, and it starts July 7th through the 11th. Just visit All-Star Fan Fest, interactive baseball theme park. Tickets and more information are at allstargame.com. Dustin McGowan gets as long as he needs to warm up because it's an injury. We got to asking, hey, how many pitchers have actually had 10 walks and 10 strikeouts in the same game? You knew Nolan Ryan was on that list, and he is. Ryan in '74 had a 19 strikeout, 10 walk game. Bob Feller, Sam McDowell. Just before pitch counts
right.
would limit some of these guys that had high volume strikeouts.
Well, Edinson Volquez even in this ball game near 100 pitches as well,
now
well into the 90s.
The last time it happened was 1990, and I don't know if it's Mike Witt or Bobby Witt. It just says Witt.
Betting on Bobby.
Okay, let's go Bobby Witt for 100.
I think it is Bobby, actually.
He had 10 and 10. Hasn't happened since then. It
Yeah,
was Bobby Witt. Bobby Witt for the win. You get that in your column. So, you talked about the walk with Miller at first. Now, a couple things here. Remember, Miller stole a couple bases last night, so
right.
There's always the chance that he's going to try to get second on his own here. Souza is sitting on a 2-0 pitch, so McGowan doesn't inherit a great count. And of course, you got Kiermaier over at third base, who runs well. Miami's infield back for 2 with 1 out. McGowan's slider misses down low. It's kind of an odd spot for a reliever to come into because he doesn't really have a chance to set up the hitter.
No. It requires him to almost go to that pitch right there in such a big point in the game. Souza Jr. up there. Certainly makes sense to go to the slider.
And the walk is going to go to Volquez's line. McGowan, though, misses with 2 pitches. Now the bags are loaded.
Remember this graphic from beginning the ball game? We showed you this. The issues with the Marlins rotation: 5 starter wins, 8 quality starts. You see the pitches per start. Well, that wasn't such an issue. The one thing I wanted to get to again and kind of bring it back up, this start is indicative of 97 innings pitched by the bullpen. Here we are in the bullpen in the 5th inning once again.
All right, and this is the last guy you want up for Miami, and that's Tim Beckham, who has had big moments in this ballpark to hurt Miami. He pulls one foul, and he did it again last night in a tight spot with 2 outs and 2 on. He doubled to right center to knock home both runs. He had that great series in 2015 where he had a pinch hit homer and a pinch hit triple, and 2 hits in each of those games. He has struck out and bounced out. Infield looks for 2. And JT Realmuto on his way out to talk to McGowan.
Some quick chat about sequencing. Slider to Beckham right there. For last night, he hit a double in the right center field gap. Scored 2 runs. Has struggled with runners in scoring position just a bit this year.
Beckham drives it. Yelich over, makes the catch. It's going to chase home a run. Moving to third is Miller. Kiermaier crosses. Miller still at first base. And so it's a 2-0 lead.
Well, third slider. This one at the top of the zone, not where Dustin McGowan wanted it. Beckham gets good wood on it. It's a line drive. Christian Yelich out there as you see him chase it into the right center field gap.
And I know it wasn't a home run or a triple or even a 2-run double, but that's a big swing, another big swing by Beckham.
Well, it changes the kind of, how this game is played. We've talked about it all game long. The Marlins hanging in there. 1-run deficit. Now it's a 2-run deficit. It starts to change the complexion of the game. It's an emphasis on the Marlins getting base runners and getting things going here.
Derek Norris, Rays catcher, is walked and flied out. Ball and a strike. And Volquez sits and watches. And because that walk went to Volquez's line, he ends up striking out 9 and walking 8.
It's like a week's worth of work right there.
Through 91 pitches.
4 1/3.
Pop up foul and out of play. It prompts a tweet from Fran who says, how many strikeouts and how many walks did A.J. Burnett have in his no-hitter?
I remember that ball game. I believe it was 9-7. That's just off the top of it. 9-7. Thank you. Boy, I got a weird memory. 9 strikeouts, 7 walks. There you go.
1-2. End of the bat, up the middle, into center field. Norris has a hit, and the Rays have another run. Miller scores. 2 of the walks this inning have scored. And Tampa Bay has a 3-0 lead.
Well, the question is, how long can you go without those walks scoring or coming back to haunt you? Haunt the Marlins this inning. So Derek Norris taking that slider back through the box. A little bit off the end, but a nice stroke there, able to go down, proving that he can handle the pitch down in the zone. First 2 games of this series.
Bouncer out to short. Rojas shovels, and a long inning is over. 3-0 Tampa Bay. great deals on the Jeep lineup at the Jeep Spring Clearance events and by your South Florida Chevy dealers. And by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. "3-0 ball game. The Rays break through for 2 more in the top of the 5th. They chase Edinson Volquez. And still out there and still in control is Alex Cobb, 29-year-old out of Vero Beach. And you can see his line in 67 pitches. Also a great high school quarterback, Vero Beach High School. And it's good to know that he still has his dog, Oscar. Remember that story from a few years back on MLB.com? I think it was spring training, and he found him out in traffic, astray. And I want to say MLB Network or MLB.com named him Dog of the Year. Baseball Dog of the Year. Here is Rojas now. Pitcher spot up next. And then you got D. Gordon. And for Miami, with a 4-man bench, you got McGowan on deck.
Well, for Marlins fans, this game is not out of reach. You just got to get the lineup moving. You got to get some runners on base and get some things going here.
Rojas does exactly that.
Thank you.
And certainly McGowan will try to bunt him up.
Two-seam fastball right there. Rojas, nice job staying inside the ball and going up the middle with it. Solid base hit to center field.
Rojas been on base a couple times.
First leadoff man, leadoff hitter in an inning on Marlins.
That is a nice bunt, and McGowan racing down to first is thrown out. Starting pitchers bunt a lot. They practice that. They do take batting practice. Relief pitchers, they get the leftovers. Somebody's got a few more pitches in their arm, they'll hop in there.
Well, they're usually begging for the attention. I mean, hitting coaches, I don't blame nobody. Nobody gives the relief pitchers any credit when it comes to picking up a bat. You got to find a way. Usually it's down in the doldrums of the batting cages. You work on your bunt in the back room. Nice job by Dusty McGowan.
So a runner in scoring position. That hit by Rojas is only the 3rd hit for the Marlins in the ball game. Well, that's the last thing you want to do when you're down 3-0 in the bottom of the 5th. Get picked at second.
Ed, you're absolutely right. It's that fine line between being aggressive and staying on your toes and making sure, understanding that you don't mean a whole lot.
And Cobb is really good at this. He's already picked, I believe, 3 runners off this season. Yeah, 3 runners this year, including Jose Altuve twice in the same game. Oh, 1. And Gordon behind 0-2. Oftentimes guys like Cobb, Hellickson, or even Odorizzi like last night, if you're waiting for that perfect pitch, it can get to 0-2 pretty quickly.
I think going against both these guys, they are so similar. You have to really execute your game plan.
Oh, Gordon gets hit. Certainly he's not trying to hit him. On an 0-2 pitch, he yanked it.
Yeah.
And so Gordon is on his way down to first.
Bring the tying run to the plate. Yeah, just gets over top of a fastball and pulls it hard to the other side. Wasn't even trying to go to that side of the plate. Just really just overextends it and pulls it. Derek Norris back there, how far he has to reach to try to go get that. Just trying to go with a simple fastball in and just really got around it. Marlins will take it at this stage. Struggled to get base runners on together. And a shot to do some damage here with the middle of the lineup coming up.
Well, Prado doubled to left, and then he flied to right. Yelich is on deck. Rays bullpen, remember, was active back when Cobb was wobbling a bit early, but that was more about the blister or whatever it is on his finger that was an issue in his bullpen session before the game and in the early innings. And that bullpen is starting to stir again. For a hitter, how different for a guy like Cobb, who is dramatically different in his windup than he is in the stretch. What does that mean to a hitter?
You just really have to, and you have to get past. We used to call it eye wash. You know, a lot of guys do things to mask the baseball. They turn their shoulders, they higher leg kick, slower delivery, changing speeds. As a hitter, you're doing everything in your power to eliminate everything colorful. You're looking for that arm, you're looking for the elbow, and you're looking for the release point. The more consistent you get at that, the better you're going to get at even picking up the hardest guys. We talk about this all the time. You hear somebody say, throws a 92-mile-an-hour fastball, but it feels like 97. Why? Well, he hides the ball probably pretty well, and hitters have a hard time picking it up.
Runners broke. Rojas broke, and that's dangerous because D. Gordon started towards second and had to put on the brakes to avoid running up Rojas's back.
Well, D did a good job of keeping that one eye, that right eye. Well, you know what? Come on, he's using both eyes. But here's the point: you got to keep your eye on him. One eye on him anyway. Got to be smart.
Gordon is favoring that foot or that lower leg that got hit by the pitch. Right leg. 2-1 to Prado. Count now 3-1.
It's the first real signs that Cobb has shown tonight of starting to struggle just a bit. He's had command of all three of his pitches. His changeup has worked well. The curveball is there, and you see it right now. Remember, he hit D. Gordon. This is a breaking ball at the top of the zone. It's not coming down. He's not finishing his pitch. It's called casting right there.
Austin Pruitt is the reliever in the bullpen. Saw Jim Hickey getting off the phone. 3-1 pitch to Martine Prado. Instead, a check of Rojas.
You do wonder if any of the earlier issues that Cobb has been dealing with, whether it's the finger or whether it was that foul ball off his leg, is not maybe factoring into where he's at right now. His pitch count pretty respectable at 78.
Is up and out of play. Full count 3-2. Rays up 3-0. Splits for Cobb.
If I were a betting man, I think we'll see some Marlins in motion here.
Well, the danger there is Cobb's pickoff move.
Now, this is not as much about the base runners as it is trusting Martine Prado with the bat.
Not running, and a ball in the air. Shallow right. Souza in. And he makes the catch. And so Cobb gets out number 2, and now it's Yelich, who has pulled a couple ground balls to the right side tonight.
Both on that changeup. Frustration tonight from Christian Yelich. Swung fastball and got a couple changeups, tapped it off the end of the bat.
spot right here as the Marlins look to score.
Yelich and Cobb got a glove down, captures it, flips it, and Miami comes up empty here in the 5th. Alex Cobb still pitching a 3-hit shutout. Brought to you by Toyota. Interleague play since 2016. The Rays are at the very top of the list as far as road record. 19-12 on the road. Now, of course, that the leagues are balanced and there's 15 teams in each league. Interleague play is necessary from the very start of the season to the very end of the season. It used to be grouped up when it was a 14-16 split between the two leagues. That way you could kind of bunch interleague play all in almost a 2.5 to 3 week burst. Kevin Cash against the Fish, including a win last night, a 3-0 lead here. And what an effort from Alex Cobb tonight, shutting out Miami on just 3 hits.
Staying in the ballgame for now.
That's right. Cobb, Dickerson, and Kiermaier. Mitchell wants to know, what do you guys think about having split announcers for the series? It's been done for a few innings in the past. So like you would work with Dwayne. You'd like Dwayne, by the way. You met him
I like Dwayne an awful lot, but
Los Angeles.
I like my partner.
Well, I know
just as much.
It would be for just a few innings, and I'd come back to you.
All right, I can do that then. Can't lose Ricky.
2-0. Cobb high into center field. Yelich is there. You can hear Dwayne Stats and Brian Anderson tomorrow night on Fox Sports Sun, 6:30 for Rays Live. Both tomorrow night's game and Thursday will be on Fox Sports Sun. We'll return to you out there on Friday nights, Marlins, New York, and Mets. Look at Blake Snell taking over the show.
Take on the Fish. I'm sure Brian and Dwayne enjoyed their days of rest. A little family time here in the early part of the season.
Corey Dickerson. I think it really will be interesting to watch the Rays box scores for the next few weeks to see how Kevin Cash gets Dickerson in the lineup. I told you Colby Rasmus is back. He's in uniform and active. Probably see him tomorrow. Well, you might not see him tomorrow night with the lefty on the mound, Adam Conley. But Kevin Cash, the skipper of the Rays, said that Rasmus is going to get the bulk of the duty in left against righty starters. Dickerson's been so good at the top of the order that you would think as the designated hitter or spot start in an outfield, got to get him in the lineup. the way he's swinging the bat.
You're going to have to rotate in between the DH spot, first base, left field, and right field, because here's one thing that I'm going to promise. I don't think it's in anybody's best interest to take his bat out of the lineup right now. And I certainly understand the argument that's in there. You got to get Rasmussen. He needs to go. He's your guy. But Dickerson's been swinging the bat so well and so consistent. And oh, by the way, he's swinging it pretty well against lefties, too. I don't think he's going to be missing too many games unless he starts to slump.
And while Dickerson is one of the guys that, when we were asked about all-stars for both teams in the first month, he jumped out.
Yeah.
Benjamin has an email. A lot of debate about the fan vote system. Of course, now you've got the fan vote, you've got the player vote, and then you've got the league naming players after those two votes supply a lot of the names for the All-Star team. Dickerson, my goodness. Ball up. Looked like it was almost up in his eyes, and he just went up and got it. You can see Rasmus up there on that top step, giving him a nice hand. So he's 2 for 4 as Dickerson.
That's the 12th multi-hit game on the season for Dickerson. Only Daniel Murphy with 13 has more.
Benjamin wants to know.
This fastball, let me get this. I mean, that's in his eyes. Holy cow, surprised himself.
Dickerson came in at 326, third hit of the series. Here is Kiermaier, who struck out twice and walked. There's a slicing liner down the left field line, and it is just foul. That's the way it goes when you're 1 for your last 35.
Right.
Benjamin wants to know, what about the All-Star voting system and selecting the team? Do you think there should be more weight given to the players or to Major League Baseball selecting the best teams possible? Of course, this year, no longer is home field advantage at stake. Best record gets home field advantage in the World Series.
That's a very good point. I absolutely believe the fans have got to have some weight in this discussion, in my personal opinion. Now, I was never an All-Star. I had a couple shots until I got hurt in a couple years. Maybe I would have gotten to an All-Star game, but I think the fan vote is very, very important, and I love the fact that the players are involved. The players don't ever get it wrong, Rich, and I know you know what I mean by that, is that their eyes, they see what's going on. They know who's feeling what. They can tell the difference between hot and not, and they very rarely get it wrong. So I look at those two and think that's, to me, easily the most important, and then obviously the third being, you know, the ability to fill out the roster, which you have to do. Now, I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm actually more a bigger fan of the, what do they call that, Rich?
Runner on the move, little pop-up. Prado makes the catch, and hustling back. Miguel Rojas was trying to convince Prado not to catch that ball because the hitter, Kiermaier, wasn't running down to the first baseline. And so right now Prado and Rojas and Gordon are all having that discussion. Here's a look.
I'm trying to figure out if it's an infield pop, and I guess that's the umpire's discretion. See, that's a sales pitch right there.
Well, infield fly, you got to have first and second.
Oh, that's right.
And so that's the discussion. If you let that ball drop, you could, with the runner going back to first, you could throw to first, get the force out on the guy coming up the line.
Right.
But you know, weird things happen when you, especially on a ball that had some English.
Try to play into miscommunication, so to speak.
Morrison against the shift, shoots it to left for a base hit. Logan Morrison, kind of end of the bat, cues it into left field. His second hit tonight. He's now 3 for 5 in the series.
See the changeup right there and just cues it. Look at Logan Morrison, thought he hit it in the air. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, I suppose. Right off the end of the bat, leaks one into left field. That's when you know you're going good. The smile on his face.
Brad Miller now, who's walked twice and bounced out. By the way, word out of Miami's clubhouse is that Edinson Volquez left the game with a right thumb blister. So right thumb blister is listed as day-to-day.
Finish that vote question. Was that an email or a tweet that we were responding to right there?
Email.
The help me with that. What is it? What do they call the vote at the end, where you have the 4 players and they end up on the
final vote? The
final vote, right? I'm a big fan of that. I like that an awful lot. I think that gets everybody engaged. I actually wish there was a way to maybe do more of that. I like the promotions. I love how the teams get behind their guys. What is it, a 48-hour period or something like this? Very short.
Yep.
And everybody just kind of pushes. I know you can't do too much of it, but I certainly love how that kind of wraps all the voting up.
1-1. And it's 1-2. So McGowan trying to pitch through this here in the 6th. One, two. No swing on the appeal down to Jim Reynolds at third. To count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Good email, Benjamin, by the way. I kind of like the fact that fans get first pick, players get second pick, and then you go from there.
Two pitch, 2 outs.
Full count now, 3-2.
Runners will be moving.
Souza on deck. Miami's bullpen called in. Edinson Volquez with a blister. And McGowan misses outside. McGowan with his first walk allowed. Volquez walked 8, struck out 9. And now McGowan's walk with 2 outs loads him up for Steven Souza Jr. Souza, his name in a few of the top 10 offensive categories. McGowan out in front. It's 0-1.
Good slider right there, able to get it out to the corner. Souza chasing that slider off the plate.
Top 10 in RBIs. Top 6 in hits, 6th in the American League. The ball and a strike.
Swing, 2-1 count now. Marlins playing Souza Jr. straight up on the infield and the outfield.
$3-0 lead. The Rays a run in the 3rd, added 2 last inning. Threatening here. That's a swing. Lance Barrett down at first.
Did see that Barrel kind of get out of cross home plate. A lot of deep counts tonight. Marlins pitching staff.
Now McGowan has gone full at 3-2. Obviously no place to put Souza, and everybody will get started. Kind of a tipping point in the ball game here. The Rays can really crack it open. Miami trying to keep it within reach. Urania ready in the bullpen. Well, actually, he's not. He's just starting his sequence. Runners on the move. 3-2 coming. Got him. Struck him out. And so Tampa Bay leaves them loaded. And it stays 3-0.
Giancarlo Stanton said earlier the ball does carry better in April here. Do the stats back that up, at least as far as the home run is concerned? Well, here it is. April, March, sometimes the season starts in March. This year, obviously, 2.67. That's in the top 10 in baseball. Last year, yes, 1.89 to 1.49 rest of the months per month average, but not in 2015. In fact, in the 6-year history, only 2 times has the case been that there have not been more homers in the month of April. 3 times there have. With the bottom line number you see in the bottom, really it's almost identical. 1.35 homers per game in the first month of the season, 1.32 in the rest of the months of the season. So at least the stats do not bear out much of a difference between the early part and later, guys.
PowerPoint seminar you took over the offseason really has come in handy. Then we have, what did we have yesterday? The bar graph?
Bar graph? Yeah, we had the bar graph yesterday.
Got you.
We're working on a pie graph for the next homestand.
All right. Baby steps. We're getting there. Here's a 1-1. Stanton jams. A little bouncer to short. Beckham throws him out. And for Giancarlo, an 0 for 3. And Alex Cobb has had him tied up throughout the night.
Marlins hitters frustrated tonight. What Alex Cobb has been able to do. His fastball both under the hands of the right-handed hitter and away to left-handed hitters. Just that breaking ball to get ahead at times. He's even had a better changeup tonight as well.
Base runners have been scarce. Miami has 3 hits, 2 walks, 1 intentional. Coors cold hard facts. These are the active streaks against one opponent. Dustin Pedroia owns Oakland 20 in a row. Ozuna 18 straight against the Rays, though he's 0 for 2 tonight. That's going to find the seats, and it's 0-2. Told you the longest ever against the Rays. Derek Jeter. That's 19 straight against the Rays. Ozuna with a 1-out single here in the 6th inning.
I'm a believer. 19 in a row for Marcell Ozuna. The changeup right there. Nice job staying down on it. Kind of catches it off the end of the bat, but a really good swing. I'm surprised he's over there at first base.
Justin Bour now. Cobb has not been overpowering in terms of strikeouts. He has 2 of them. The 1 walk, and of course the other walk is intentional. Erasmo Ramirez in the Rays bullpen. But he has been overpowering in terms of bad contact and pop-ups and ground balls.
That has not been the case. Alex Cobb coming into this start, specifically if you look at the entire body of work this season. Now, you're playing off his last start at Baltimore, 5 innings, a couple earned runs. Giving up 38 hits in 29 innings coming into his start tonight. 317 batting average against.
Against Cobb, can you sit on a 2-0 fastball? Remember the pitch he took earlier? He looked like he was sitting on the changeup.
Right. For me, Cobb is about directional hitting, and it's just really that thought that you have in your mind of how you want to line yourself up and get after Cobb. I don't think because he'll throw his breaking pitch at any time, he'll throw his changeup at any time, as well as his fastball. He'll pitch you forwards, he'll pitch you backwards. You have to kind of stay a little bit more neutral. So to me, it's more about where my eyes or where my vision would be, whether it's pulling him or trying to go the other way. It really just depends on what he shows me.
Justin Bour, center field. The park will hold it. Kiermaier has the catch. And Ozuna will hold at first base. 2 outs. Real Muto up. Burger and Beer Fridays are back. My popular demand. There's no better way to unwind after the grind than with a burger, a craft beer, and a Marlins game. On Friday the 12th, Marlins and Braves at 7:10. Tickets start as low as $30. Go to marlins.com today.
Well, a lot of talk about home runs. Really looking forward to the home run derby or the All-Star game.
Yeah, you've got the Futures game, you've got the Celebrity Softball game, you've got the home run derby. I like the changes in format to the that event. Real Muto lifts it to right, and Alex Cobb just keeps on rolling. 6 innings of shutout ball.
Is known to put on a show during batting practice. Today was no exception. Take a look at that shot he hit right into Frank's.
The Judge was served. How about that? Aaron Judge in batting practice put one through a TV.
Fly ball, right field, fair, it's gone. Gone, see ya. A home run the other way, right down the line. Aaron Judge, his 11th of the year. It's
How about that? Aaron Judge putting on a show. A Matt Lato sighting in a Blue Jay uniform. 3-0 here. Frustrating night, and it's been a frustrating run for Miami. Derek Dietrich is in the game at first base. Marlins are going to double switch, and Justin Bour exits. Dietrich arrives. And so Jose Urena, who had a long relief appearance his last time out, almost a start worth of pitches, and he takes over for Dustin McGowan. If you're just joining us, this was a really odd start for Edinson Volquez, who struck out 9 but walked 8 and went 4 1/3 and then left with a blister. McGowan went an inning and 2/3 of scoreless, though there was traffic on the bases with 3 hits and a walk. And here is Urena, and here is Tim Beckham, and of course Tim Beckham drove in a run because this is Miami and he's playing the Marlins, and he's had a lot of success against him.
Including here at Marlins Park. Ringing sacrifice fly. Well, I'm going to call it a line drive. RBI line drive to center field.
You know, I will say that's the first time I've ever heard anybody use ringing and not attach a double to it. Usually it's a ringing double, right?
Well, how hard did he hit that ball to center field that Yelich ran down?
So there you go, a ringing sacrifice fly.
Right.
That's creative.
I thought I was doing an injustice because I used the word sacrifice fly in that it was a fly ball, and it's not really what it was.
I love it. We get a tweet that says, "You are not answering all the tweets." Well, look, I mean,
that's my doing.
There are some that, what did you tell everyone?
You thought I was kidding around about that. I told everybody you were going to be answering every question tonight.
You can't answer all of them because some of them don't. Some of them are just statements. They're not really questions.
Right.
Some are.
I think you really thought I was kidding with you. I told everybody out there.
Some are just duplicates.
We will not leave you hanging tonight.
All right.
We could be here for a while.
I better get back to it. Stan and Stan are usually with us on Tuesday nights from Asheville, North Carolina. Beautiful Asheville, North Carolina. That may come back, and it does. Oh no, a foul ball. Dietrich had the glove down. That ball was coming back towards the bag. But the problem is, if Dietrich lets it hit the bag, it might bounce over his glove.
Yeah, you don't want to take that chance.
Whoa, whoa,
It's
whoa.
moving pretty quick, too.
Whoa, that looks fair. Doesn't it?
Well, it does from our perspective, which is
sideways.
The back side of the line.
Understood. But
I'm with you. I mean, it looked like it was hovering right over that line.
yeah, that last bounce. Now, that's not reviewable. That last bounce looked like it was in the chalk. It's not reviewable because it was in front of the base umpire.
Right.
If it's behind him, then you can take the instant replay. And Urena strikes out Beckham.
Done. Front door slider.
This is the last bounce.
Oh, I can't tell.
Yeah, you're right.
I want so badly to be on the line, but it's not. I thought we might get a little evidence there, too.
Here's Stan and Stan from Asheville. JT likes to move rather drastically in or out before each pitch. Tonight, he's hopping just before the pitcher delivers. He does that so he doesn't give away location to hitters. But as long as pitchers are having control problems, perhaps he should just set up in the middle of the plate. Ball in the air to left, and Ozuna is there. Actually, Stan and Stan, there are catchers that do that, but for pitchers that have a lot of movement, natural movement, rather than sit on a corner and have the ball move off the plate. A lot of catchers will just set up in the middle of the plate.
You've heard, move back to Edinson Volquez real quick and talk about that two-seam fastball that he throws so much that he's had such trouble commanding to the outside on a lefty and the inside on a righty, for example. If JT sets up on the outside and he gives him a target there as his reference point where he starts, more than likely it's going to continue to end up off the plate. That's kind of the point of this. It's also kind of getting into rhythm with your starters. I mean, that's just it. You know, you're always trying to give them the target that they want so that they can execute that pitch. See right there, JT hit the glove to the dirt because he wanted that ball down for Urania. Where did he put it? He put it down.
Daniel Robertson here. Tried to check the swing. It looked like he got hit on that right arm. The home plate umpire is on his way down. I think they're saying that's a swing, because if it's a swing and it hits him, it's a strike. It doesn't. Let's take a look.
Awfully close. We've seen it called this year.
I don't know. He's not going to be happy if that's the case when he hears this. They're looking at that right arm. The home plate umpire just popped out, put his right arm up like a strike. And now Kevin Cash is going to go down and talk to the first base umpire. You see Lance Barrett, and you heard him say that was a check swing. And that's the rule. If you say you bunt at the ball and miss and it hits you, it's a strike. If you swing and miss and it hits you, yep. I'm not convinced this is a swing. I don't think he. See the umpire walk up the line. He'll ask, and there's the call. I think Urania may have gotten a break here. Look, it's a hard call for an umpire, and we've seen it. If you think about it, that awful night in Milwaukee, when Giancarlo Stanton was hit in the face by Mike Fiers, that was actually called a swing. And so was the next pitch, which hit another Marlin hitter and emptied the Marlins dugout. Rasmus is on deck. This brings Robertson back into the box. Counts 2-2. Liner into left field. That's a hit. So Daniel Robertson gets hit, gets back in, gets a hit. He says, "Hey, I just saw you, Dietz."
He'll take that.
Yeah. Yeah, that call for Marlin fans still sticks in there. You know what?
Yeah.
Because obviously Stanton was severely injured on a pitch that he was trying to get out of the way of. It was called a swing. And then Reed Johnson was up next after Stanton was carted off to the hospital. And the same thing happened. Reed Johnson against Mike Fiers tried to check a swing and he got hit. And that's when the Marlins dugout emptied, and half of the team went after Fiers and the other half went after the umpires. Casey McGee was probably the most vocal and animated in that case. Casey McGee's back in Japan this year. When we were over for the World Baseball Classic, we didn't run into him, but we saw his name in the papers. He was in spring training. We did see Rick Vandenherk, though, former Marlin right-hander, pitching for the Netherlands. Fastball, and Rasmus swings and misses. Nice to have Rasmus back for the Rays, for sure. And have him in the lineup. Rasmus, hip surgery. He had hip and hernia surgery back in October, and he lines one into the corner. It's going to rattle around foul. Signed by the Rays to a one-year contract in January. So to finally get him after signing him. 5 straight seasons with at least 15 home runs. Only other AL outfielders with that current streak: Adam Jones, Jose Bautista, Mike Trout. It's pretty good company.
Sure is.
For Rasmus.
Tried by Urania. Good defender as well.
Full count. It stays 3-2. Daniel tweets who's ready to see the Judge and Giancarlo in the home run derby.
I would say there's some serious home field advantage this year in the home run derby.
Yeah, but I think for both those guys, this is a big ballpark. I don't think it's going to matter with either of those guys.
Well, I just think with Stanton knows his park. That's all I'm saying. A little bit of an advantage anyway.
No swing. Rasmus walks. And the Rays have, you could say that Miami's been wild, and they have been, but the Rays have been patient. The Rays have done a nice job of chewing up pitches.
Extending innings, and I continue to harp on it here in the first 2 games of this Citrus series, what it does to your defense. So many 3-ball counts, long counts, pauses in between. Certainly understand it's a byproduct of teams struggling just a little bit. Marlins have lost 5 of 6. It's definitely putting your defense in a position where they have to stay on their toes. 18 walks versus Tampa Bay in these first 2 games.
Here's Dickerson, who is 2 for 4. 3 hits in the series. Sends it out to center. Over for it is Yelich, and he makes the catch. Urania strands 2. Miami is down 3-0. Wow. Alligator Alley, the Trop, Renaissance Vinoy, all kinds of cool stuff. Chihuly Glass, how about that in St. Pete? Then on the plane and head to New York on the train. Citi Field, bright lights, big city. Marlins Mets 3-game weekend series. It's a 5-game roadie for the Fish. First 2 games of that road trip in St. Pete are on Fox Sports Sun tomorrow night. Please tip your announcers. Dwayne Stats.
Accordingly.
Brian Anderson. Jim Hickey was given the Fleet Week shields from some of the folks that are here from the military. Fleet Week. Hey, how about this? How about we do an AARP? Not that he's a member, but he probably could be. Getting to know Jim Hickey, UT Pan American Hall of Fame. I love the one on the very bottom. His dad in the military, and he actually fought Joe Louis.
That's really cool.
It's very cool. And we said it last night, one of the, I think, underappreciated pitching minds in baseball. Chase Whitley has had quite a start here. This is appearance number 7. He's not given up a run. Marlins saw him for one hitter last night in a 4-2 Rays win.
You see that opponent's batting average against 8.088. Gracious. Standing start to his season.
Miguel Rojas, Derek Dietrich, D. Gordon. Rojas chases, and it's 1-2. Whitley and Alex Cobb, I believe, were rehab buddies with the Tommy John surgery.
You explaining the changeup I just saw right there? I was honestly just about ready to say that. It's interesting. It's always been interesting to me. I don't think this is necessarily a Hickey thing, but just the sequencing and the pitches that the staff uses for the Rays. They're also very similar. You saw a really good changeup right there.
Would you call it thing 3?
Well, I don't know if he goes there. I think maybe it might lose its meaning at thing 3. Is that Craig Minervini and Marlin Man? I think it is.
Craig, better known as the mayor of Marlins Park. To right, Souza is there. And so Alex Cobb for 6 innings. Now Whitley gets the first out of the 7th. The Rays have been able to get some deep starts. Now I know Odorizzi went 5, but he was on a soft pitch count coming off the disabled list. But Archer and Andriese both got at least 7 innings in the books on Saturday and Sunday.
Over the weekend.
And that's given the bullpen a chance to catch its breath and realign.
I remember coming in, we were talking about their poor road record. I mean, it's not like it's a whole lot better. I mean, they pick up the win yesterday, but still, Rays have been dealing with some guys on the disabled list, getting their team back together, but hanging in there. This is the last game of a long road trip.
Derek Dietrich trying to get in a groove. I know it's tough when you're not getting starts regularly. You're getting pinch hits or coming in double switches. 1 for 7 on the homestand. Out in front of the changeup, 80 miles an hour from Whitley. Georgia Tech shortstop, Dietrich, a Rays draft pick. Came over in the Yunel Escobar trade. Fastball, and he pops it up. Back behind short. And that's Robertson who makes the catch. And Whitley has 2 outs.
We've witnessed in the first 2 games of this series what a good changeup will do to you. It forces the hitters to respect it. They know that if it's being thrown for a strike, you have to at least recognize it. What it tends to do is put a hitter in more defensive position, makes your fastball that more effective.
Talk about hitters getting on streaks over the course of a week's worth of games. Whitley has retired the last 16 batters he's faced. He's up with a fastball.
No, and that's what's so impressive is that Whitley's done that with a 91-mile-an-hour fastball. He's not a guy out there, you know, he's not herky-jerky. He's not hiding the ball from the hitter. He's not cross-firing. He's not doing anything that's, you know, throwing the hitter's, you know, vision off. What he's doing is he's mixing in a fantastic changeup, and that's really what it comes down to. It's actually somewhat of a untraditional pitch for guys coming out of the bullpen. Most guys are two-seamers and sliders or split fingers and velocity nowadays. Trusts it so much, he'll throw it back to back, as you see right here.
Dickerson over, and 3 outs in the air for Miami. Whitley goes 1, 2, 3 to the 8th, 3-0 Rays. Rich Waltzel on with Todd Hollinsworth. Emails and tweets tonight. First one we got all night was, did you guys coordinate your ties?
Hopefully they're good. I mean, maybe we did a little bit. Not intentionally, we didn't talk about it.
It's been a frustrating night again for Miami and an impressive night for Tampa Bay. The Rays have pitched quite well. They've been able to manufacture runs just like they did last night.
Well, and you look at the comparison in the first 2 games of the series, what the Rays have done well, the pitching setting up everything else. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the offense for the Rays has been off the charts good, but what they've done is they continue to put runners on base. They continue to give themselves opportunities. On the flip side of this, you hear me continue to harp on the defense. Unfortunately, it's been out there an awful long time for the Marlins. The pitching and the walks, it's also part of it. It's making the at-bats. You know, you watch that last inning, and again, Whitley's been so good, but you can clearly tell that the Marlins' at-bats are just kind of a little bit in between right now, and the reason is they're standing around a lot tonight.
Yeah, this run that the Fish are on right now has certainly been a frustrating one, starting with the 2 games in Philly. The rain out, the off day, and the Phillies got them for 2. The Pirates winning the first 2, including in blowout fashion. And now the Rays, and of concern for Miami, the fact that the Rays play so well at home. They're 9-4 at home is Tampa Bay, and that's where this series is headed tomorrow night.
Well, I just look at the Marlins, and it's not about, you know, where they are or who they're playing right now. I mean, if you ask anybody, they just want to get right again, and I think that's the idea, is that they want to get the pitching back in line, at least some element of predictability with the starting pitching, and we've showed you the numbers tonight with the bullpen as well. But when it comes down to what the offense can do, just think back to that San Diego series before all of this happened. And they were on fire. They were rocking and rolling. They were hitting home runs. Everybody was happy. Everything was going right. And outside of the one game, the last game against the Pittsburgh Pirates, where the offense erupted for 15 hits, it's been slim pickings.
Tweet from Christian, thank goodness Lomo doesn't play for a team in the National League East.
Outside.
It's outside. In case you missed it, Logan Morrison homered to right. He has singled to left. He's 2 for 3 here. He is 3 for 5 in this series. And his numbers against the Marlins in his career, well, he hasn't had that many games. This is only game number 6. But he's 11 for 18 now with 2 homers. This is game number 6. And that was not Christian Yelich, by the way. It's not from Yelich's account.
I think he's busy right now.
Yes. He is. Who was the last player to tweet during a game? Wasn't there some player? Was it Manny? I don't remember. I don't know if Manny tweets. There was someone that got in trouble for tweeting. In the
it's not a good idea.
Right. I want to say it might have been Manny. Morrison swings and misses, and Ureña gets a strikeout. Marlins and Braves on Saturday the 13th. 7:10 start, Cuban Heritage Night presented by Hialeah Park Racing and Casino. Pre-screening of Que Pasa USA, celebrating its 40th anniversary. Purchase a special event ticket, you'll receive an exclusive Cafecito Cup. Marlins.com/special events. Ureña and Brad Miller matched up here now. 2 outs. Miller, and remember we talked about Miller and the fact that even though his batting average has kind of sunk, his
taking his fair share of walks this year.
On base percentage is going up. 3 walks tonight. So that gives him 22 on the season, tops in the American League. And the difference between batting average and on base percentage now is probably what, about 145 point difference. All right, Austin throws this one out here. Todd, what's your favorite food at Marlins Park? You've been able to get out and get any of it. How about your family when they come in? What's been the favorite?
Well, that's
thing?
A great question. I don't know. It hasn't been discussed yet. It's very good. It's been nothing but you and me, pal. Not much of an eater either at dinner time, as you know. Prefer to have my coffee and energy drinks during the ball game as opposed to eating of anything. A snack here or there, but no, I have not really gotten out and walked around.
Still waiting for the moment where you combine the coffee and the energy.
Oh my, no, that would I think that would be a pretty quick giveaway.
Yes, it might. Souza may have come to the plate with the wrong bat, or maybe he noticed that that one was broken. So he's got the one he wanted.
What if he just said, I don't think I'm going to get a hit with this white bat. I need to go get my gray one. You mind?
My lucky bat?
I've changed my mind. I want to use my other bat.
I singled with this in the 3rd inning, don't you?
That's right. I don't think that one survived, though.
He's 1 for 3. Sharp grounder short. Rojas flip. Gordon at the bag. And Ureña an uneventful 8th. 3-0 still. Tampa Bay.
right shoulder.
The numbers, 1 and 2 for Conley. And of course, you see the ERA for Adam Conley, and it's up because of his last start, where he had trouble just getting out of the early stages of that ball game. And gave up a ton of runs, 9 runs in particular. That was Friday night against the Pirates. So Conley will try to bounce back. Blake Snell gets the ball. Rays live on Fox Sports Sun starts things tomorrow night. Erasmo Ramirez for Tampa Bay here. Miami, Martine Prado, Christian Yelich, Giancarlo Stanton down 3-0. Waiting for the bats to wake up. And it's, you know, aside from the Sunday game, of course, that's the 10-3 Miami win over the Pirates. Hits have been hard to get. Runs have been hard to get. Saturday, 3 hits. Last night, 4 hits. Tonight, 4 hits.
Not a lot of walks to go with it either. I mean, this is quite isolated.
Friday, just 2 runs against the Pirates. 2 runs against the Phillies on Thursday. 4 runs, 8 hits in a loss to the Phillies on the Tuesday. Or excuse me, the Wednesday. That chopper's going to find center field. And so there's a hit and a start for Miami in the 8th inning.
Well, and that's the great thing about this opportunity here is that they're still within striking distance. It certainly has a different feel, and I know we've said that a little bit during this stretch of 5 of 6 in which the Marlins have lost. The truth is they are within striking distance. 3 runs is a deficit they can make up in the blink of an eye, certainly with the power that's getting ready to come up here between Yelich, Stanton, Ozuna, and Bour. Real Muto, goodness gracious. That's the other thing that's really disappeared, Rich, is the long ball. Whether that's an April or May thing, I refuse to get involved in that argument any longer. All I know is that it hasn't been as much as it was in April.
Yelich at the plate, count 0-1. Stanton Smash tweets, do I let the kids stay up to watch the games for the last 3 weeks of school, or do we listen to a responsible mom?
Oh, definitely gotta let them stay up. It's Marlins baseball. It's all good. Besides, school gets easy towards the end there. Those last couple, 2-3 weeks, things are pretty simple. You got no tests, don't worry about it.
You're not going to be on mom's good list for that.
No, that's all right. I'm offering her Marlins baseball.
I got you. Yelich, did it hit his foot? He thinks it hit his foot. And I don't know if any of the umpires saw it. The discussion is ongoing right now. Yelich is hopeful that they'll ask the third base umpire. Let's watch it.
Oh yeah, definitely hit his foot.
Hits the toe.
Yep, right off the toe.
Obviously, it's hard to see in real time.
We can't see it there, but the other angle, I saw it clear as day.
The discussion for
Yelich.
Yelich.
Watch this right here. Watch the inside of his right foot. Watch this. Boom, right there. See how the shoe comes up?
Don Mattingly is coming to the plate right now. The discussion between Yelich and Brian Knight's still going.
It's a foul ball.
And I think what Yelich wanted was the home plate umpire to ask somebody.
I got to see the call. I can't make it up. I'm not saying that he's lying or it didn't hit him, but if I don't see it, I can't call it.
Well, things just continue to snowball.
And that was actually a interesting slice of audio to hear the discussion between Don Mattingly and Jim Reynolds, who said, look, if I don't see it, I can't call it.
How definitive it is on this look. You kind of see it, but when you watch it from the front angle, you see that front shoe move. I see it is every time.
But again, you watch it in like 5 different angles.
Watch the front. See the shoe right there. See how it bounces up?
The question is, how is an umpire standing 120 feet? And this is not a reviewable play. This is, you can't run instant replay on this.
No, that's you know, that's a fan's argument a lot of times, is that why don't we have instant replay more involved?
Yeah, that's a
slippery slope. I get it.
And it's a great argument. If there was a faster process, maybe you'd have more people on board with that. Stanton absolutely hits a bullet into left center field. That's going to score a run. Giancarlo to second, and he'll hold there, and that has to feel good for Stanton.
Yes, it does.
He was riding a 2 for 24 before that bolt, and it's going to be an RBI double. Miami's on the board. It's 3-1.
Tell you what, Rich, I don't say this very often, but I felt that swing almost as if, I mean, you can kind of feel it in the building as the ball hit the barrel of the bat. The tension release for Giancarlo Stanton. Those struggles, you see him get it right off the barrel, and just how hard he hit this ball back through the middle. The ball would have rolled all the way to the wall. Unbelievable. That's a strong man right there.
Now Ozuna, who singled his last time up.
He squared it up. You see it right there. He knuckled it. He hit that ball so hard that it came off the bat knuckling.
He's in scoring position. 2-1 to Ozuna. And he pops it up. Morrison makes the catch. So a run across, 2 outs. Now remember, this was Justin Bour's spot, but because of the double switch, it's the pitcher's spot. It's going to be an Ichiro at bat. And by the way, you said that you felt that line drive.
Hey,
that's one of the hardest hit balls I've ever seen on StatCast. The initial exit velocity is 119 miles an hour.
I'm telling you, and I'm not kidding around when I say this. I know that we're up, obviously, a couple floors here, but when he hit that ball, it was pretty quiet here at that moment. It was like you could almost, I almost felt it in my shirt right there. I mean, he just hit that ball so square with such force. Clearly, 119 miles an hour is hard.
Big spot for Ichiro. Erasmo Ramirez misses in. Two and 0. A ball in the dirt. Ichiro last night bounced out. AJ Ramos in Miami's bullpen. 3-1 ball game. Tampa Bay by 2. Ichiro's got a 3-0 pitch here. You've got Real Muto behind him. And a strike.
Taking all the way.
Ichiro flips it down the left field line, and it's into the seats. Ichiro has yet to really get into the type of rhythm he was in last year when he was a pitch hitting weapon.
I think that would be a byproduct. A few more starts. Been hard to come by.
Little tapper towards third, charging Robertson on the run, and he got him. Bang, bang, but out at first. Miami will have to settle for just the run on the Stanton double. Marlins are taking a peek. We'll take a quick look ourselves. 4 or 5 years ago, that's a base hit for Ichiro. Interior of the glove by far, well before Ichiro got to the bag. A run for Miami, but a 2-run lead for Tampa Bay. 14 on base, 8 left by Miami. The Marlins have a run on 6 hits and the only error of the game. There's A.J. Ramos, the workload, just that 18-pitch Saturday, so he should be fresh and ready to go. Ramos' year so far, 3 save opportunities and 3 saves. But down 2 here, and his job is to keep it at 3-1 and give Miami a shot, probably against Colome in the bottom of the 9th. Here's Beckham, Derek Norris, Daniel Robertson in the 9th inning. Strike starts the Beckham at bat. This game was started by Edinson Volquez for Miami. One of the weirder lines you'll see. 4 1/3, 3 hits, 3 runs, 8 walks, 9 strikeouts. On the other side, Alex Cobb didn't look like he was going to make it out of that first inning. A blister issue, which first popped up, you know, bad choice of words, but which first was evident when he was in the Rays bullpen warming up for the game. It looked like Kevin Cash was close to taking him out of the game early. He had a right-hander, Who, warming up in the bullpen.
Who?
Yeah. Cobb ended going 6 innings, 4 hits, didn't give up a run, walked 2 and struck out 2, and the Marlins had all kinds of bad contact and pop-ups. And so Cobb hung in there and gave the Rays 6 innings. 1-2 from Ramos. Beckham swings and misses at a breaking ball and strikes out.
Vintage A.J. Ramos right there. A couple of great breaking balls. One puts him away, one gets ahead in the count. A couple of fastballs. Showed you of that inactivity. He's feeling fresh tonight. 94, 95 miles an hour on the fastball. See from AJ. Norris, single through the middle, drove in a run, a walk.
We talk about the missing Rays with Longoria's foot. Duffy still out with the heel. Wilson Ramos is a nice piece, a catcher that the Marlins saw an awful lot of with the Nationals. Of course, tore his knee up last year, had it repaired surgically, and the Rays are hoping come off the disabled list maybe late June, early July.
Yeah.
He'll be a nice addition to this ball club.
I think when you think to the future of what this lineup could look like, it's actually pretty exciting for Rays fans. There's no doubt. I mean, Ramos last year, it wasn't just about the power. I mean, he drove in a ton of runs for the Nationals.
A.J. Ramos, the 1-1, and Norris doinks that into right field. It's the second base hit he's had off the end of the bat. Remember his RBI single scored it up the middle too.
Now what Norris has shown is that he can handle that low ball in the zone.
RBI Baseball 2017 returns with fast, packed pick-up and play MLB action, packed with all your favorite MLB teams, players, ballparks, and more. It's quite a sentence. Get RBI Baseball today for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and mobile devices. Learn more at rbigame.com. Robertson is getting some run at third base in the absence of Evan Longoria. Here's a stat that jumped off the sheet. Longoria and Kevin Kiermaier were out last night, and the Rays still won. It was the first time the Rays won a game in which Longoria did not appear since 2013.
Wow.
How about that? But of course, it illustrates how durable Longoria has been He had missed only 4 games, and the Rays had lost all of them.
It's amazing.
1-2 coming. Robertson fouls it back. So Robertson, and you get a sense too that if Robertson can hit, his average right around 200, but his defense and his versatility could make him an asset. The fastball from AJ finishes him off.
Elevated fastball after a breaking ball down in the zone. Very hard to handle both. Certainly with 2 strikes in a defensive spot. Chases up to the top of the zone.
Remember, we wondered who the player was that got in trouble for tweeting or texting or Instagramming. And Alex, Travis, and Chris all pointing the finger at Pablo Sandoval.
Yeah, I vaguely remembered that. I wasn't quite sure, so I didn't say it out loud.
Alex says it was Instagram during a Red Sox game. It's the only bullpen in baseball that has its own theme music. Usually a Latin salsa dance beat to it. And that's the visitors bullpen up against the Clevelander. Of course, when the ballpark opened, the first year the Marlins bullpen was there.
Why did it move?
Well, for obvious reasons. Distraction, one of them. You've heard of the curtain of distraction. That's a great college basketball behind the basket at Arizona State.
Yes.
With all kinds of hijinks.
Mm-hmm.
That's the club of distraction in left field. Ricky Weeks getting the at-bats.
There's that fastball we've been talking about tonight from A.J. Ramos. 93 on the gun. Good life.
Two. And it's strike 3. Bottom 9 in Miami. Rays by 2. Marlins down to their last 3 outs. Marlins baseball, Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Jeep, get great deals on the Jeep lineup at the Jeep Spring Clearance Event. And by your South Florida Honda dealers. Downtown Miami, the Rays have hit town. 4-2 win last night and a 3-1 lead here in the bottom of the ninth. Rich Waltz, Todd Hollinsworth, Craig Minervini, Jessica Blaylock, Preston Wilson will join us for Marlins Live. Alex Colomé for the Rays, and the Marlins saw him last night, and he was sharp. He worked 1, 2, 3 in the ninth.
Well, we advertised his struggles coming in. He did not look like he was dealing with much last night as he made quick work of the Marlins. Good fastball, slider, throws about 70% of the time. We'll see a lot of sliders.
JT Realmuto leads it off. Miguel Rojas, Derek Dietrich, and then D. Gordon. Miami trying to get some base runners on. Prado and Yelich follow Gordon. Big shift against Realmuto to the left side. Colomé fires in a strike, 96. There's the shift on Realmuto. The outfield in the opposite direction, shaded towards right center. High heat. And not the Chris Russo kind.
Realmuto, time catching up with the fastball up there at the top of the zone. Certainly aware of Colomé's slider, which he has not shown him yet.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, I wasn't asking to see it. I guess I got to. It's one of the nastiest in the business. That's why he throws it so much. That's what he was setting up right there.
Now Miguel Rojas, 1 for 2 with a walk. And a strike. Of course, Colomé, fine season last year, an all-star season last year. With a tiny ERA, 1.91. It's a guy that took a while in the organization, out of the Dominican, and it often happens that way when you're signed at 17. And you've got to develop from the very, very bottom. But his 5th year in the big leagues.
There it is again, 92 miles an hour. You see it at times almost act like a cutter. That is his slider.
It's 1 and 2 on Rojas.
Let's take a look at it one more time there. You see it, where it starts and where it ends up. Very difficult for a right-handed hitter to stay in there on it.
Two and 2. Rojas trying to find his way on base. Try to advance the lineup up into the Prado, Yelich, Stanton territory. But not with that slider right now. Colomé again, 2 strikes, goes to it. He struck out Realmuto with it, and he gets Rojas as well.
It's so hard to lay off that slider when it starts in the zone and works its way out of the zone.
Craig Minervini pressed to Wilson on Marlins Live. Coming up after the game, Logan Morrison from the field. We'll have Lomo live and a breakdown of Edinson Volquez odd night. 9 strikeouts, 8 walks. Dietrich now. Miami down to their last out. Another night of frustration for Miami hitters. A run on 6 hits.
Outside.
3-0 to Dietrich. 2 runs on 4 hits last night. Well, there's a base runner.
It's the tying run to the plate.
And you got Gordon now coming up. Gordon is 0 for 3. Miami down 2. Of course, Gordon last year, his lone homer came on that emotional night. The night after Jose Fernandez's death. That incredible opening at bat against Bartolo Colon and the Mets. It's 95 miles an hour and a strike here. Prado on deck. Yelich after him. But 2 outs in the ninth. Derek Dietrich at first. Strike. Gordon didn't like it.
Yeah, that's a tough pitch either way. Either gets that call to strike or it's a ball. It's as simple as that. D. Gordon's not going to offer up with that slider low and away.
See, it's out. That won't change the count. It's 0-2. Got him. Colome strikes out 3, and Miami drops another. A 2-game sweep for the Rays. And Alex Colome saves both games. 3-1 the final here tonight. A Logan Morrison homer opens things. A couple more runs in the 5th for the Rays, and that does the trick. And Tampa Bay has reached 500. And for the Fish, frustrating night again. Marlins Live with Logan Morrison as our guest when we return.